It feels good to be back on the air again. This is Breakfast Central, and you know, as always, the best place to tune into to start your morning. And we're kicking off from 7 all the way to 10 a.m. 3 hours of uninterrupted news delivery, analysis, and looking into some of the biggest stories coming out of Nigeria. And oftentimes, we do well to go outside of the shores of Nigeria. My name is Joe Hansen, welcoming you to today's edition. It's definitely midweek and a lot is happening from the all-important conversation around the, in quotes, listed agency. I try to run away from saying fake agency because if it was really fake, it would have been found out like way back. But it also made its way into the national budget. How does a fake agency make its way into a national budget? Help me make sense of that. But that's just my thought on a Wednesday morning. As you yawn, have breakfast, sip a cup of coffee or tea. Stay with us. I'm not alone. I've got the one and only, the man spotted in blue. He's not a Chelsea fan, but I know he wishes. Benga, good morning.
Thank you so much, Joe. Looking very sharp this morning, as always.
You're looking sharp too, bro.
It's Breakfast Central. This is where the magic happens. #1 breakfast television show in the country. We bring you insightful news analysis and biggest stories happening across the world. And, of course, in our dear country, Nigeria. So many things happening. My name is Benga Bora. You're welcome to the show. Just yesterday in Abia State, Mrs. Remi Tinubu, she's been on a donation spree. She donated 2 billion naira to boost Akwete fabric production in Abia State. And by the time we show you the only female on this program, you will see her spotting not Akwete fabric, but something very similar to Akwete fabric. And also, before I hand over to the only female, we're blessed to have her in our midst every day, Oliver Modi. I also have to say that in our state, a home state of Delta State, a commissioner that was appointed yesterday during his swearing-in was moved to tears.
He was kneeling down.
He was kneeling down. You would think he won the World Cup. But let me stop there and hand you over to the lady. Beautiful, delectable Olive Emodi, spotting something similar to what the First Lady donated billions for to boost the production. I'm talking about Akwete fabric in Abia State. Good morning, Olive. You're looking very dashing.
I really see.
Even though you are not dashing Usman in your Akwete fabric this morning.
I see you really woke up on the right side of the bed. Kudos to your wife for, taking care of you at home, making your home.
I slept at home.
You are not an irresponsible man.
Where would
you are not an irresponsible. We don't have irresponsible.
I stepped in the library to be studying so hard for me to be able to meet up with Breakfast Central.
May you not sleep in the library when you have a family at home. All right, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And for the next 3 hours, we're taking you on a journey around Nigeria and looking at some of the stories, some you've been following, some fresh introductions. As is our responsibility here to bring you factual information and also to air your thoughts, because we also believe that the voice of the people is the voice of God. So your voice matters here on Breakfast Central. You can share your voice with us on YouTube, where we stream live, News Central TV Live, as well as when we open the phone lines. We open the phone lines to anyone and everyone can call. And we always enjoy hearing your perspectives on some of these stories. We receive calls from not just Nigeria, calls from, I think the other day was from Switzerland, different parts of the world. So thank you, very, very big thank you for staying with us and for being a big part of our show. And special thanks to our online audience. I want to crack a dry joke, Benga. Okay,
go ahead. Why do you always involve me in things that
because
are you are involve Joe Hansen for once.
No, Joe is a serious
I'm making him look.
You are very unserious and you are a bad influence to me. No, jokes apart though, do you realize how our colors
primary colors?
So no, it's primary. Now wow.
Okay. Yes, no.
There are 2 primary colors here and there's 1 secondary color. So for us to have Joe is wearing green, you're wearing blue, and I'm wearing yellow. Blue and yellow makes green. That's why you're the leader of Breakfast.
Oh, I just learned something. That's highly.
Our leader.
That's highly.
You see, today I'm not arguing leadership.
It's good. I don't know, but there's a plan.
No.
Because, I don't want to be like the Senate president. Senate president said that he has never seen the National Assembly budget before.
Wow.
And his Senate president.
Wow.
Yes. Interesting.
Wow.
I was shocked. Said he has never seen the budget before. Yeah?
Okay.
Osas, in response to you, when you were asking, help me make sense of it, Osas said, I will help you make sense of it. When you have a Senate headed by Akpabio, anything is possible. Good morning, Osas. Good morning, Michael. What's happening? What can you do, Chukwemeka? You've not woken up from sleep. We're waiting for your good morning. If we don't see your good morning, we're not starting the show today. Thank you. It's a very special good morning to our virtual audience. How are you, gentlemen?
We're good. So
Well, we're good. We're alive. We're kicking. We're back.
Petrol is 1,000.
Petrol is
we're not happy.
1,300 naira. It's funny enough, I bought petrol. Today is Wednesday. Something just told me, go and top up. I bought petrol for 1,118. It just took barely 20 hours or less. No, 15, 20 hours. And the marketers didn't waste any time. They quickly calibrated.
I'm so jealous. I should have.
1,000.
I mean, of course, I knew it was coming, but I don't know why I didn't just buy the petrol then. But anyway, it was
painful.
You can't spend more than 1 week.
That's the honest truth. Even if you buy, what you buy will still finish. You will still refill your tank.
That's the thing.
Okay. We want to start today with a very interesting conversation. Feels like when you try to score a goal, and instead of scoring into you, the enemy's camp, you score it into your own
How do
goal
they sing that
post.
song? What a back penalty, Lord throwing.
Or when the bushman catches the hunter.
Actually, this is it.
Or when village people are on your case. They're dancing onto.
I'm very excited about this story. Let's just tell you about the story and get your reactions as well. The Federal Capital Territory Police, that's the FCT Police Command, has arrested and detained 4 police officers for extorting 53,000 naira from the chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and I'm so sorry, and other related offences commission, ICPC, Dr. Musa Aliyu, SAN, during an illegal stop and search operation in Abuja. Briefing journalists on Monday, FCT Commissioner of Police Ahmed Sanusi described the officers as thieves who had no business wearing the police uniform. Sanusi said investigations showed the officers abandoned their designated duty posts, converged around the Banex area of Wuse, mounted an unauthorized checkpoint, and extorted the ICPC chairman without knowing his identity. He said that they forced him to withdraw 53,000 naira through a POS operator, made him pay the transaction charges, and shared the money among themselves. Joe, please ring the bell for this story. I have tears in my eyes.
What?
It's the funniest thing I've read.
In all of this, I have to give kudos to the ICPC chairman for playing it cool.
I love it.
And just going with the flow.
I love it.
I'm tearing up so badly.
They say, oh, God, pack.
So, I love things like this happening because when you have bad behavior, you may think it's just within your family, you can manage it. One day, this bad behavior will smell outside and you embarrass your family, like these 4 people that have embarrassed their family like this. It shows you what they've been doing, obviously, behind the scenes. Nigerians have complained about the police, members of the Nigerian police force, who will come and mount checkpoints and make it look like it's their inheritance for you to pay them, and for you to give them bribe.
Yeah, they're God-given right.
Their God-given right. It gave me so much joy to see this story happen because, again, and I must applaud the ICPC, chairman for not even covering this and saying I will deal with them privately, but bringing it to the public, bringing it to the open to ensure, and good as their face show like this, because if it is regular Nigerians, often we don't.
Everybody can see their mentors and mentees.
Yeah. People's best dad in the world and people's best mom in the world. Because how did we as a country come to a position where the police that is meant to protect you, that is meant to ensure that your rights are being protected, are the ones that are now perpetrating the crimes? And again, like what we see, not every person in the police force is a bad egg, but we are excited when we see the bad eggs being exposed and being rooted out from there. But let's take a look at this video. We'll come back. But before then, just to mention, head to YouTube, drop your comments, let us know what you think about this story. And if you've maybe ever had any extortion experience, it'd be great to share stories in the comment section as to how that went out. But let's take a look at this video.
About 4 policemen in custody as we speak. who tried, not just tried, but successfully extorted somebody of high importance, unknown to them, that this person is a highly placed person in the society. In fact, in clear terms, they extorted, mark my words, extorted the chairman, what's it called? ICPC. Yes. They extorted the chairman, ICPC. Where are the policemen?
I hope that they see the reaction, even amongst themselves. The way all of them shouted, ah, Nigerians no longer feel shocked. That has been the reality of Nigerians for the longest time.
It's the gusto and the excitement in which the police commissioner of the FCT command made that announcement. He said, wait for it. He extorted.
I was expecting drum roll.
Yeah, drum roll. And I'm sure this is not the first time. He should know that. I mean, it's also an indictment on his command. Because these women and men are under him. If they had read the Riot Act, if he had told them that they should be of utmost discipline all the time, this won't be happening. And it's just unfortunate that it happens to a VIP. And this is what ordinary Nigerians go through. Police will look for flimsy excuses to extort you here and there. And it's very sad that still in 2026, we are dealing with issues of police extortion, not just in the FCC command, but nationwide. And like Olive said earlier, they're there to protect and serve, not to extort people. Nigerians are going through a lot. The fact that you're in a job that gives you a uniform and allows you to bear arms doesn't mean you're better than other Nigerians. You should, I mean, there are also other professions that will complain that, look, their salaries are not enough. Are teachers going on the street to extort people? No, their salaries are not enough, so we can't always use remuneration as an excuse. The Nigerian police force should do better in terms of training and also welfare for its officers and men. And I also have to commend, oftentimes when we see this sad news or negative news about the police, it's always men of the Nigerian police. I've seen that now.
Men and women.
Gender balance.
Yes, there's balance. Yes, I was waiting for you to say that.
Yes.
Now
Happy Women Wednesday to those ladies.
Exactly.
It's one lady.
No, there are two.
There are two.
It's one lady.
No, can we have that
I think
image
it's one
up
lady.
again?
It's one lady and 3 men.
13,000 each, 13.
It's one lady and
13
3 men.
times 4.
Can we please put up the picture of the police officers?
You help them to divide.
It's one lady and 3 men.
This man, he look like somebody that is collected gunja in the past.
Our producers, please. Hey, don't put. Hey, wow. Gender
I don't carry fake news.
Wow.
Fake news merchant.
Wow.
Equity.
My gender.
This is equity and fairness.
God bless you, brother.
Let's be honest.
Happy Women Wednesday.
Yeah, but in as much as
Happy Customer Service Week.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, Benga just reminded me.
They also released album for customer service.
Oh my goodness, Benga just reminded me. Last year,
I remember.
This time, I think November.
That's when they released their album.
October. The Nigerian Police Force said, Happy Customer Service Week.
And this is the result of customer service.
Okay, so there's another thing to look at.
You are now, it's not a business.
This thing that we see, that we saw happen to the ICPC chairman, is the reality that Nigerians experience every day in Nigeria. If it wasn't the ICPC chairman, would it be escalated to this extent?
That's another thing.
In Lekki, you are driving past, you will see them. Once they see you looking a little expensive, they've packed you. If they see you looking like you are very entertainment savvy, they will tell you to park. And then before you know, they're asking you for money. They're asking for your papers, and when you can't provide them, these things happen. So the question is, what then do we do to ensure that this does not this does not continue, because it has become the norm? I won't say that what should we do to not make it the norm? It is the norm. What do we do to prevent it from happening again to another Nigerian, regardless of your political status or influence? 1, 2. Beyond what is going to happen to these force members? When they expose force members like this, do they wait for the dust to quieten down and then reintegrate them back into the force and maybe a different zone or a different area? Or do they really go through with totally firing them. This goes back to what we said yesterday. If you don't put, and I say this, I must sound like a broken record at this point, certain things happen because actions don't have consequences. If you know that you can do something and get away with it, you will continue to do it. If I know that coming late to work, that I saw one of our colleagues once, come late first time, they gave him query. Come late second time, they gave him query. By the third time, he was out of the station. I will sit up and say, if they can do it to this person, I shouldn't try it. So are they going to make examples of these people, or is it just going to be theatrics of public performance? Over to them.
Well, for me, I'm just going to say this. This is not new. This is not new. It's just that the bushmeat eventually caught the hunter. You know, because the hunter here is the ICPC boss. He's hunting people who are stealing from Nigeria. He's heading an anti-graft agency. So he's really the hunter. But the bushmeat are expected to be those who are stealing from Nigeria, who are taking Nigeria's, taking from Nigeria's reserves, what they call the national cake collectively. So you have the hunter, you have the bushmeat. But this time, the bushmeat told the hunter, Oga, we'll catch you. And they said, redraw. He even had to pay.
I hope he has recovered his money.
No, yeah, don't worry. No, he doesn't need to recover it.
53K is small fine.
That's the evidence. The POS, the person who even did the exchange, I hope they also were able to.
Yeah, because you have a lot of this POS agents that
collaborate with them.
Because this happens. Nobody talks about the POS operators, where the police always go with the POS. They go to the POS operator with the person whom they've caught and say, oh yeah, pay to her. Some police officers don't want to collect the money in their accounts.
No, of course they don't want to, because you can track it.
You share the money, and they say, hey, Oga, go. So I'm trying to imagine. I wish the ICPC boss had a camera glasses.
Better glasses.
We would have loved to see how the process was done.
Yeah, we see it all the time.
But we see it all the time.
We see it all the time. All the videos we see on social media.
There's another video I saw of a young man.
The penalty would be. I think if you ask them to be dismissed, it would.
It's not extra. It's not extreme.
Because they'll be out of jobs.
Let them be out of jobs.
Now, there are no consequences.
Men and women.
This mindset is what puts us where we are. Because the police should be the ones who hold the highest level of integrity, of discipline, this is a crime. It's literally extortion.
Do you understand?
It's a crime. You are forcing people to give money. You are first of all disrespecting the country. You are insulting Nigeria. These are the same people that when foreigners, all those Westerners that I want to do tour and they'll come with their bike. Remember that video of the person who came into Nigeria with a bike?
Money, give me money.
And then was filming with their glasses where they were asking for money, where they were being extorted.
Give me money. Let me even shock you. I dare to say this, that if the son of the president decides to just walk on the streets alone, they will collect money from him, even if they don't know him. Even if a governor who they don't know decides to walk with T-shirt and jeans, they will select. They will tell it, Oga Park, Oga, oh yeah, give us something. It's different from now. Let's not get it right. Let's not get it wrong. There's some police officers who will tell you, oh, please, make I drink water, you know. But the police officers also need to understand now. Yes, they need to understand now that the water you want to drink is also not available for the masses.
Exactly.
So everywhere is dry.
Dry like desert.
Dry like the sands of the desert. It's dry. So everybody is struggling. But let's see what Nigerians are saying, basically. I think. Okay,
let's start from YouTube. Good morning. Oh, I've seen your good morning message now. Welcome, Chukwemeka. Thank you. Now we can start. Thank you very much. Michael Obieku says, ha ha ha. What Nigeria police force cannot do does not exist. Honestly, police can never change, no matter how much they are paid as salary. Very funny, honestly. Ochodi says, ABJ, where you don't know who is who, on top of 13K each. Such foolery. Michael Zu says, look at the faces of the four thieves. Even women no carry last. Don't drag my gender. In all honesty, we have over 90% corrupt police who extort, steal, connive with criminals, and allegedly render return to DPOs and compos, LOL. Marcus McCain says both the police and the ICPA all are corrupt agencies. In fact, for me, they did what their counterparts are doing to this country is in total problem. Ochi Gerald Onyebuchi says, perfect example of the bushmeats don't catch the hunter. Marcus McCain says, News Central, my darling station, you guys are just too good. Please keep it up. We love you all. We love you too.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Somebody said News Central crew is no longer drinking tea. If you have short of form, please apply from 8 billion religious budget so that you can drink more tea. We've been exposed.
Oh my God, Michael
Michael
Zeus.
Zeus.
Say we are not drinking tea.
This guy's
Oh,
So our what's his name? Our brewer.
our intern isn't around now.
Yeah, he usually does.
Person who handles it.
Thank you
This
for your
week he's
concern.
busy. Thanks
Oh
for
my goodness. This one is just shade. Just Michael Zeus, you commend
Said
us
that
with one
8
hand.
billion
Use the other hand to
The
give
federal
us
government has
shade.
not responded to that 9 billion naira.
Okay,
not
Kashima.
responding.
They already said that they weren't going to respond. Osa said, please, though, this one no concern POS operator. They go to the ATM too. Are we going to hold the banks? Please, let's not give them ideas. Michael Obieku says, meanwhile, I'm just imagining Joe being arrested and extorted by a police officer, and he'll be like, do you know who I am? My name is Joe, a journalist with News Central. What are our people on this morning? Lillian Oloha says, good morning, Queen Olive. Oh, thank you. And co. Kudos to ICPC boss. Well, let this not end in guardroom discipline. They should be made to face the consequences of their corrupt tendencies and punishments be made open. And I can't, disagree with that. We have 3 more. We'll take Femi Olagunjo says, good day, Joe, Olive Wenga, and News Central in general. One day is for the thief and one day is for the owner. They should be dismissed automatically. We still have some officers doing the same. Exactly. Michael Obieku says, you guys are looking swift in your various outfits. Nice on my peeps. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. And Chooks Danny says, the Commissioner of Police should not pretend to be shocked. What is it that has happened that he's not aware of? The system is bad.
Under his command.
Everywhere you turn to, corruption is staring you in the face. Too bad. Mokwe Chukwemeka says gender balance. And of course, the sentiment that we expressed earlier, Thorich says, this is what ordinary citizens and motorists are subjected to every day by the police. Extortion. And finally, Owe Ogenetega says, nice shirt at Olive. Thank you. He says, meanwhile, Nemesis has caught up with them. This is what Nigerians suffer every day. Nigerians get extorted and not one arrest is done. The chairman is not more Nigerian than others. Every time I'm driving past and I see where the police have stopped some young boys, my heart.
Because you know that.
Because I just know that, man.
They are just wasting
You are going to see Shege today, especially if it's like a guy that has dreads.
Dignity, putting hands in their pocket, all of that.
I don't know if you saw that video. There's a video of a young man in the East. They stopped the bus and they pointed at him and said, you, calm down. And as soon as he came down, they started putting, I'll try and get that video for us so we can actually have it on breakfast. They were dipping their hands in the pockets, dipping their hands everywhere. And then, of course, he now asked them, do you want to undress me and check my boxers? And next thing they said, oh, bring your bag, your mini bag, open this one, they were checking. He asked them, okay, what are you looking for? He said, you know what? I'm ready for you guys. Check anything. Let's go to X, though. Let's see what Nigerians are saying on X very quickly concerning this particular story. This particular one don't hang for their throat. So says that tweet. Exodus official says the funniest thing I ever read.
Honestly, this is so funny.
If this policeman...
It's actually funny, I must tell you.
If this policeman used to watch the news...
Look at this tweet.
Wow.
So police don't do wrong.
Police versus police.
All right. Certified Michael says, the one with the black uniform, with the orchestrator.
Please, let's see the pictures
How
again.
do you know?
I want to see the one with the black uniform.
Guys,
This is not good.
I don't know. I don't think it's the guy in the...
So who do you think?
This is not good.
I think it's a woman. If you remember...
No, it cannot be the woman, please. The woman is a lie.
Orchestrated
don't bring gender war here.
Benga, don't try this, please.
Benga, let's
not try this.
We're having a great show now.
These women are only just introduced into the trade. They are fresh recruits. They have not been doing this kind of business before.
They are high ranking.
What we're trying to do here on Breakfast Central, let's mention very clearly that it is imperative. I'm going to go with one of our guests yesterday, Peter, who joined us. I think the federal government should consider, in conjunction with the judiciary, and we do not care if the legislative will join, but they must find a way. That website, let's have what is called like the yellow pages. Let's have the red pages. Everybody who has committed a crime, serious crime, should be listed there.
Like a crime register.
A crime register.
That's a good idea.
Let it be.
But you know the bots to it. There are 2 bots to it. But Nigerians, a lot of people don't have shame. You can't shame the shameless. We don't really if they had shame, some of the things that we have talked about even on this set, some people they are not even supposed to raise their head again. So yes, they will still be running. The next day they will say what is worse. Some of our public office holders, the kind of things that they've said, they should be ashamed of themselves. The reactions that Nigerians have had, they will drag them on social media, we will drag them on TV. Shame doesn't mean a thing in Nigeria, that's one. Secondly, what is the impact of creating a shame register? In a country where we are still struggling with data management and data collection. Abroad, in certain cases, for example, if you're on the sex offenders register, before you get a job, all they need to do is to check your name, all your details will come out. We don't have that here because I can have several details with several bodies. NIN is one, BVN is one. I will do Lagos.
On sex offenders.
Yeah, no, I'm just using that as an example. Yeah. But if we had like a unified data collection point where, for example, if they pack you, all they need to do is run your card on they scan your card and all your details are up. When we have something like that, so that if you go for a job interview, they run your details, they check. When they know that you are somebody that has stolen money before, they know that you are a thief, you have terrible reputation, they will not hire you until actions start having consequences. We are still joking.
So we have two key statements here on Breakfast Central that we've coined maybe throughout the year.
Nigerians and Nigeria's problem. Until actions start having consequences, we are still in
Because if actions had consequences, nobody will go and purchase
where we are today.
And tell these people that
you will not purchase one because you know that nobody is going to vote for you because they know that you are
for you. And you know that INEC is waiting for you when you purchase one that you want to run for an office. They will tell you, come. You have a case in court.
Parties that are not ashamed to have this sort of individuals amongst them and still screen. What's the point of the screening exercise when somebody is an active criminal? I mean, the reputational damage to your party.
Binga. Let's go.
The argument will be that they'll tell you that the court has not, the court
passed judgment.
Innocent until proven guilty.
The ethics of it alone is.
Yeah.
Let's go to our next story. His Excellency, Mr. Peter Gregory Obi's video has actually emerged once again. In this video, he was seen talking about Nigeria's insecurity level. Now, he took us back to 2012, where he mentioned that during 2012, remember, Occupy Nigeria, as a result of the fact that the former then President Goodluck Ebele, Jonathan, was not able to secure the release of the Chibok girls. And that was just one significant issue that bedeviled his administration. However, he likens it to what we see today, which is not just one in Chibok, but it's a plethora of kidnap cases from one place to the other. In fact, kidnapping is pretty much the order of the day, and you would find these kidnap stories either here on Breakfast Central or when you go online. Well, let's get to listen to what he said, and let's see if we can delve into the situation.
Under President Jonathan, there was one kidnap, and the whole world was in protest against the government. Under President Buhari, in 8 years, there were 10 school abductions. And under the present government, in 3 years, they've surpassed 10. What it then show, and the country is keeping quiet. The world is keeping quiet. The government is not showing enough determination.
Okay. So let's bring it back home. Nigerians are asking questions. The comment sections, everyone is saying, well, that pretty much seems to be true because we recall how under the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, even while he was interviewed, I remember very much on CNN, and that is popular responses. No, that's
not correct.
He kept saying that back and forth because the questions were coming. However, my angle to this story is the fact that we saw people troop out en masse, shut down the system, as it were, in protest of what was termed as a threat to Nigeria's security. Today, we have seen what has even surpassed what we saw then. But yet, the same people who joined forces, voices, time, energy, resources, have all of a sudden kept mute and said, well, it's fine. we're doing well.
Okay.
Or they gaslight people into not protesting and then, you know, always echo NSAS.
Yeah.
So protests are a no-go area.
And I think another part of it is what I personally find very interesting is the lack of accountability.
That's it.
So we've had members of this current administration come on this show to defend the current administration, to defend President Bola Tinubu's policies. And I recall correctly when we have Nentawe Iwata, and I asked him, I said, do you think that judging, because we talked about insecurity and the challenges, and he said that the challenges with insecurity that Nigeria is experiencing under this administration did not start from this administration. It predated this administration. And I remember asking him, so is it safe to say that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was hasty in his condemnation of President Goodluck Jonathan at the time? They never accept that. But we were all here. We saw the Occupy Nigeria protests. We all saw the feedback. They were exactly, they led the protests. There were tweets calling for President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to resign. So it's okay to say, well, I underestimated the impact of this thing or the depth of this challenge. I underestimated it. I think that it's okay to say you underestimated it and you were hasty. It's okay to look back on an action you took before and say, I probably shouldn't have done that. You know, I should have done differently if I had known. And no, I think that would even accord you more respect. Personally, that's what I think. Yeah. But there's always like one excuse or one reason. We haven't seen this level of kidnapping in this country. It's now a booming business, a thriving business. And
we're struggling with the truth, trying to get the truth from the Orire issue till date. We're hearing different accounts, eyewitnesses' account, victims' account, and then the security agencies' account. So right now, what we have out there are actually 3 different accounts. And that's just one. There are those who have been kidnapped multiple times. The Middle Belt is also facing its own challenges. The pastor, Reverend Father, who had said we need to even follow up on that case. It was 10 days. But today is day what? They gave him 10 days that they were going to attack.
At this point.
So we should be able to, maybe we should even reach out to him and find out if we don't know. He said it's 10 days. It's calmed down.
And another sad thing is the basic primary responsibility of government to secure and protect the lives of Nigerians. And if you feel that, I don't think every other thing is secondary. Because, I mean, if people are not alive, these bridges or these policies that you're making, what are you making them for? So security should be of utmost priority. And it's not yet to Huru. Because the other day, Mr. Bayo Nununga was looking for people to sing their praises. Meanwhile, there are still questions hanging over, like you just rightly said, the true story of the release, if it was a release or if they were...
yeah.
So, and there's still many more places. We haven't asked Kareoba in Borno State. Those kids are still in the kidnappers' den. So
absolutely.
We have a lot of work to do.
I mean, they caught 3 persons. They said the 3 people were responsible for the Ruri kidnap. And then stories are also coming out that, no, these are not the 3 persons. So there's a lot. But then again, I think it's just for us to reflect on and look into what really is going on with Nigeria's security architecture. We've spoken to so many security experts, even here on Breakfast Central, to the point that we ourselves, as journalists, ask ourselves questions too, like where do we go from here? What is the plan? How is it possible that Nigeria would eventually get its people protected and secured? There's cross-border issues. People have talked about people who have moved in from other countries. Then the TikTok stars who keep going live on TikTok, and Nigerians going there to beg that please, I know you give away ransom money, please transfer something for me, and dropping account numbers. That's why I was happy when I saw one of them who said, after he had dropped his account number, they transferred. They now called him and said they're looking for him. He started crying that please help me, Nigerians help me. They say when you were collecting the money, you didn't know.
See, we can't even pretend that we're in the best place. We are not in a great place, right? We're not in a great place. There are those who would argue otherwise about policies. But I think at the barest minimum, the very basic thing you're looking at is, I want to be able to afford a decent quality of life. Let me not think about where my next meal is coming from. I want to be able to wake up, go to work, come back, or do whatever you're doing without fear that somebody will kidnap you. And it's getting closer and closer to everyone. Back in the day, when you thought of insecurity, we always thought about it as far up north, even though that's still not a great perspective, because what you don't nip in the bud will then spread to the rest of the country, which is where we are. But then again...
Sorry to bother you. I like what one of our commenters said.
Okay.
Said when JJ increased pump price in 2012 following his attempt to remove subsidy, the attack from this present dispensation was so much that the gentleman...
Is it not why they went to go and do Occupy Nigeria protest?
So now...
Because, exactly.
Okay, so now...
Well, now we're doing the same thing. So for me, it's like, I would say that part of also responsible leadership is taking accountability. And sometimes you're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to evolve. It's okay to say that the actions you took 3, 5, 10 years ago, you would... If knowing what you know now, you would have taken a different set of actions, because the people who criticize President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan are the same people right now that are finding ways to defend that the government is fighting insecurity tooth and nail. I'm not saying the government is not fighting insecurity, but the metrics for determining that success is how many Nigerians feel safe in this country. That tells you all that you need to know regarding that. But let's take comments. We're streaming live on YouTube, News Central TV Live. Please head there. Share your thoughts about this, and we'll take comments on X. But let's start with YouTube. On YouTube, okay, no, let's start with X. We'll come back to YouTube. Dr. Jane says, exactly. The whole world is quiet. No protest at Ojota Bridge. It's only God that punished those involved in all this. Who are those involved?
That's our show. That's
Too
our
early
show.
in the morning.
Nothing but the truth, so says Precious. Obi, my question is, how do we stop this school kidnap? It's becoming a shame beyond embarrassment. That's what he says. Sharon Riley says accountability matters for everyone, and that's what we've said here as well, as Olive mentioned. Proudly okay, he says context matters, history does too. Posterity remembers, and that's the truth, whether we like it or not. We always say it here that... we always say precedents. We always mention that. And that has got to do with history as well. You can tie in history to precedents because whatever you do now would forever be etched, in history.
Yes.
And people who are coming up would read that, oh, there was even, like we're saying, there was a time the current president stopped a former president by leading a protest in 2012 not to remove subsidy. We can't forget that. We can never forget that. So these are the things that we look at. So, I mean, it's always good to do right. I think that's the bottom line. I don't know if we still have more time, but there's another story there. Rumors are swelling. How do we used to put it in writing then? Back then, when we used to script regularly, they'll say, if the news about the resignation of the Minister of Defense is anything to go by.
Yeah. Okay, are we taking that, or we should take comments about this first?
You can take comments on
Okay, let's take comments on YouTube, then we'll come to that. Michael Zu says, Obi is very right. However, nobody wants to protest. Rather, they applaud the release or rescue, depending on ransom payments. The yesterday protesters are today supporters of Tinubu, and then he goes on to give some certain examples. Michael Obieku says, this only goes to show how hypocritical we are as Nigerians. The current dispensation has recorded more kidnapping than any government, yet some people who held Gigi by the neck can't talk now. Mercy Akwete, go get your PVC and vote out bad leaders. PVC registration closes July 26th. Vote 27th actually, but you wrote 26th. Vote NDC from top to bottom. That's what she's writing on comments. Mercy Akwete is always spamming our comment section. But thank you for being here, Mercy Akwete. Mokwe Chukwemeka says, the people who can drive the kind of protests we saw in Jonathan's times are the ones in power and will deal with anyone who tries to protest against them, for example, end SARS. Michael Obieku says, when GEG increased pump price in 2012, following his attempt to remove subsidy, the attack from the present dispensation was so much that the gentleman reversed his intentions. Frank Obute says, hypocrites and sycophants in power, no good thing will happen. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bequeath rule, when the wicked beareth rule, rather, the people mourn. Chuks Dani says, Tinubu's strategy is hiring 1 million spokespersons that gaslight Nigerians to talk about macroeconomics and infrastructure when Nigerians are languishing in kidnappers' den. Shame. These are the comments. You can keep your comments coming because, like we say, your voice will always matter here as we'll take your comment on YouTube. But let's move to our next story. It's like there's a rumor, and they say no smoke without a fire.
But I'm happy that the rumor has been quenched immediately, and that's why it's good to have top communication experts in your team, because once you don't dispel the rumor or you let it linger, it will lead to speculations. And this story is about Nigeria's Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, retired. On Tuesday, vowed to take legal action against those behind reports of his rumored resignation, saying he was shocked by the reports and had no knowledge of their origin. Musa arrived at the presidential villa at approximately 3 p.m. and departed well after 4 p.m. on Tuesday amidst the swirling rumors about his tenure. Emerging from the meeting, Musa denied any discussion of resignation and said the reports were the handwork of people uncomfortable with the administration's improving security record. Let's take a listen to the Defense Minister.
And now we're going to...
Good to see you in the state house.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We're surprised. We learned you are very resigned.
I don't know. I too, I was shocked when I saw that. I don't know where that came from. But, well, you always expect that there'll be people that will not be happy when things are going well. Security situation is improving. Things are getting better. And so for them, it's a sad point, and they will always want to make it look as if it's not so. I'm not going anywhere. I have never discussed. I don't even know who the person who brought that information. But whoever he is, we'll take the legal action against him. I'm sure we'll get him. He will come and explain who gave him such information. But I assure Nigerians that we are fully... You can see I just came back from briefing Mr. President on the current security situation, and he's very happy with us. And now we're going to continue doing well. And I want to seize this opportunity to appreciate Nigerians for all the support. The support has been massive, and you can see the changes. And that's where we say to defeat the terrorists and the bandits is a whole of society approach. And now Nigerians are key into it, and things are getting better, and they will continue to improve.
The man himself, the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, has said, look, there's nothing close to his resignation, and it's just the work of detractors who are not happy with the progress Nigeria is making in dealing with insecurity. So I don't think there's much in there. And I wonder, the rumor mills, how this rumor starts. You know, some people do it for clicks, clickbait. That's why it's always good to take your news from authentic news sources like News Central.
Okay.
Don't take things from the face value. But let's see what...
before we see what Nigerians are saying, I have something to say. I know that he's not resigning, no. It's just that in Nigeria, what we noticed a pattern. Usually when there's a rumor of a resignation about to happen, something is happening behind the scenes. So
there's no smoke without fire?
Oftentimes. I'm not saying this case is similar. I'm not saying this is the exact... But the pattern we've seen a lot of the time is that when you start hearing these rumors, there's a bit of ruffling or a reshuffling, or something is happening behind the scenes that eventually will materialize. But again, time will tell. We are going by the statement of the minister that this is all false rumor. All those one of arresting the originators of the rumor, that one is just is more rhetorical.
Legal action.
They don't really...
Signs. Usually you have teething signs, and we can take our minds back to Minister of Power, Adelabu. You're resigning. There are rumors that he's resigning to go and contest for elections. He said, no, he's not doing that. He even came and granted an interview to the press, just like what we saw here, and said, no, that don't worry. And then, listen, Nigerians, I promise you that in the next 2 weeks, power would come back stronger and better, or restore power. 2 weeks after, calm down. Guess what? Our only Minister of Power has headed straight for the polls. So you also have the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Tuga, Ambassador Tuga as well.
Yeah, he resigned.
He also started as...
So, these are very different situations. And the Minister of Defense's portfolio is very sensitive. We're dealing with security issues.
So wait, are you saying that the Minister of Power's portfolio was not sensitive to Nigeria's economy?
You could tell. He had been nursing this ambition even before he was minister to be governor. So you could see the end of the road. Even when he was denying it, you could tell he was being diplomatic. But, this is an appointment that is barely 6 months, Christopher Musa. So for people to speculate that he's resigning, it's sort of a big...
there was also a rumor that the former APC chairman was going to resign, and then they were back and forth and eventually resigned.
I really don't think there's anything.
And then he said he had to resign because of health issues. A lot of resignation, we've seen it based on health.
But this, I don't think there's...
Former SSA to the president, Ajuri Ngelale. So there's a lot. What we're saying is...
But this particular one...
I like the way you're sticking out your neck. Yes, and I like the way...
I don't think...
I've been interviewing
you. Guys, usually that's his
you are doing
department.
Well. I think you should be an SSA,
It's a department. If Benga ever goes into any ministry, it'll be Ministry of Defense.
Yes. He's as an ex-boy.
I was a defender. So.
Okay. Let me quickly mention as we wrap up that INEC is now employing. INEC has opened its portal for employment. So let me quickly put it out there. Application window, highly time sensitive, is running from Monday, 20th of July, which started
what are they employing? And
it's going to end Monday, 27 July 2026. So if you want to work in INEC, available positions are professionals, experienced hires, grades levels 09 to 14. They're looking for accountants, clinical officers, lawyers, ICT officers, engineers and quantity surveyors, administrative officer. They're also looking for executive officers. So I'm mentioning it here because I know, Benga, you want...
Actually, you are the one that should apply. You're wearing green now.
Benga wants
your suit looks like INEC logo.
Can you get to the salary emolument part? Because this whole, I'm tired of seeing her every day. It's so Guachuku Queen.
Your Guachuku has suffered in your hand.
Recruitment portal. I mean, we're being our brothers. We're being our how do they say it? Be your brothers.
Yeah, because we do need a capable hands.
We know Nigerians are looking. So INEC is not. Nobody should say we did not help you or we did not mention. INEC did not mention. So take note.
Okay.
I think pretty much.
I want to take some comments that will trigger Gbenga. The second one will trigger Gbenga, but let me start with the first one. Okay, let's start with this one. Chooks Danny says, believe government officials on that Tinubu at your own risk. Just wait. Something will happen. No smoke without fire. The life for a living. And Arthur Rich says, insecurity has gotten worse since Musa took over. He's overrated.
I mean, I'm not defending Musa. I'm just saying he's not resigning anytime soon.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like I'm defending his tenure. I don't hold brief for the Minister of Defense.
Okay.
I wish he lived up to the reputation and the glorious heights that Nigerians celebrated his appointment.
Is it that we haven't given him enough time?
What do you mean enough time? Under is what Jorire happened, Askari Oba, we will still have the menace of the bandits in Zamfara State and other parts of the country. So he's not lived up to that, to the lofty heights and the expectations of Nigerians. But my comment is on his resignation. Regarding,
living to his expectations.
Then there's a Minister of State for Defense. Why is no one talking about it? Matawale, who is very important, he seems more interested in inspecting
he hasn't said anything of recent. He's been so quiet.
Wearing military uniform. He's very, very interested in the ceremonial part. So what exactly is his impact? Are we having duplicity of roles? Because if you're going to assign, are we just wasting money? Whose command do they listen to? What's the, what's the organogram? Well, of course, Christopher Musa is a senior minister, but we really need to ask questions about Bello Matawale because he's been there longer than even Christopher Musa since the beginning of this administration, actually.
To be honest, I haven't. We'll talk about that one, much later. I've never understood the concept of junior ministers. I just feel that I don't see the logic in that. I mean, kudos to those.
I mean, they do. Sometimes they do it just to fulfill federal character and make sure 36 states have their ministerial slots.
I've never seen the concept of it because it's just like, what is the shadow? Maybe it's supposed to be a shadow minister, right? But I don't really see. Assistant minister. Well, Chuka Uchiaba says security situation is improving and things are better. Basically quoting Mr. Christopher Musa, he now said, so sad to see Chris Musa admire a lot, sound like Daniel Boala and Onanuga Chai Tinubu and his wonderful APC. Yeah. Let's move to our next story. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Badagry Area Command, has uncovered a suspected fake university operating from a 3-bedroom apartment in Ilado Olorunda local council development area of Lagos State, rescuing 106 youths allegedly recruited into the scheme. The command also arrested the alleged proprietor of the institution, who was accused of luring young people from across Nigeria and neighboring West African countries with promises of admission into a foreign university. The operation was carried out in the early hours of Monday following days of intelligence gathering and covert surveillance by NSCDC operatives. According to the Corps, the suspected institution was operating without an official name, registration, signboard, or recognized campus, while allegedly presenting itself online as a distance learning center affiliated with a foreign university. Wonders shall never end. Gentlemen, over to you.
Fake
government agency.
Fake government. No, permit me to use Wiki's fake. Fake government agency. Fake university. You see, I was talking to someone yesterday and I said,
Why did they use the word rescue? Anyway, they rescued them from their folly of not ending up with Oluwole degree that they won't be able to use. So,
as in,
rescue, really.
people too need to start learning how to confirm things. Now that we're in the era of online schooling, virtual schooling,
Online, but you
virtual
cannot
degrees,
Google whether the university is.
that's
real or
another
not.
thing.
It's the irony.
You could check the footprints. I mean, but we're also living in times where AI has eventually captured a lot of loopholes. So one can actually create a school, logo, address. You can use AI to create the university. You use AI to take pictures, post it, design it, make it look. But then again, the discerning one will always know. Because during registration process, you're not just paying money into the bank account. You should be able to verify that, okay, fine. Who is the lecturer? I'm sure they had lecturers. I'm sure they had lecturers and they were teaching.
See,
I wonder what model they're using. And I'm surprised it's NSCDC that flagged this and not the Nigerian Universities Commission.
That's
great question. So first of all, let's talk about the oversight of the Nigerian Universities Commission and what steps they are taking to ensure the accreditation and verification of universities in Nigeria. Two, there's a desperation for those who schooled in Nigeria. There's a desperation when you're done with secondary school. You want to get into universities. And it's almost like regardless of how intelligent you are, at least back in the day, I don't know what the current situation is like, but back in the day, it's if you get the cutoff, they will ask, are you from this state or are you not from this state? The criteria for getting into university was very difficult. And I believe that it might even be worse now, right? So there's a certain desperation with students that want to get into school. They don't want to stay at home. Their mates are already in school. For some of them, their mates have been flown abroad to study. The parents, on the other hand, don't want their children to stay at home. They want them to go to school. So my heart really goes out to those who have been taken advantage of as a result. I heard that, or I read that school fees between 200,000 to 1.5 million naira has been paid.
Hey.
So those who have paid these school fees, will they be recovering their money, or is it a case of Oyasokoyoti law is gone, right? That's one. Then there's also the risk or the area of trafficking that you can see there, because from the script you could see, or from the story, that they're luring victims from different parts, giving them the illusion of a foreign university. That is how trafficking operates. 1 minute is school, they'll tell you are going to. The next minute, you see yourself in another country doing what you did not subscribe to do. So it's really, really worrisome, and I hope that they get to the bottom of this. And again, this shows the amount of desperation. Do we have enough universities to contain the thousands of secondary school students that we're churning out every year? What is the criteria?
You're right. You're absolutely right, because, I mean, it's a matter of demand and supply. People are desperate. They want to get into school, so...
And they want to get into foreign schools.
Affordable.
Because, not just even affordable, foreign.
Affordable.
Because in your head, you're thinking,
So
if my child goes to school for a 4-year course, they can spend 6 years due to ASU strike. So you're thinking about that. You want to save time.
But ending up in a
three-bedroom flat.
three-bedroom university, does that look like a foreign university?
Some of them have not gone abroad. They don't know what to expect. So they are saying to themselves, at least I'll get a foreign degree. I will say I got this one from this country.
Badagry.
That is not Nigeria.
I've in Badagry.
But I would say this: if I were the federal government, I would use this. I would use this as a case study. I think it will form a good blueprint for Nigeria's educational system to show that there's a certain level of persons in terms of degree or percentage who want a type of education. I would study their model.
They know that.
No, they know that. But you see, it's different from when people have been successfully defrauded. People have successfully carried it out. So I want to learn how they were able to do it. One, what is the model you were giving to them? What models were you giving to them? What was the processes? How were you carrying out lectures and so on? Learn it. Maybe to help to create shuttle, in quotes, campuses. See, Benga, I'm happy one of our guests came here and said, what we're doing now, we ought to have changed our educational system way back. We're still using the same thing our predecessors did for us. We're still using the same, we ought to have changed them. And I agree. I think it should be a case study, whether you like it or not. But
they really should punish these people for defrauding parents, defrauding people, and trying to, shortchange the students and, capitalizing from their desperation. And parents and also students should be more aware and, do better research so as not to fall victims to these people and their sharp practices. And the NUC should also step up its enforcement of fake universities and polytechnics all around the country. We're not going to say because there's a death in education that we should just allow all sorts of mushroom universities. That's why the NUC is there, to ensure standardization.
Right. For some of them, it's even hope that is being sold to them. Yeah. Hope of you're not going to stay at home, hope of you won't be subject to ASU strike. And finally, the hope of, oh, we may not have put our activities in order now, but we will before you graduate. There are many universities in Nigeria that students were in school studying courses that were not accredited by the university, and the university kept saying we will accredit it. I know many cases where they are studying medicine. By second year, the person realizes that, well, they are not accrediting me. They then transfer to go and start in another department to study biochemistry or something else. So it's that hope. That hope, again, reflects a lacuna, a flaw. I can't completely blame them. I can't completely blame the people that fell victim.
I want to read more on this story. I have a feeling that they also had a pay small, small process, because Nigerians like pay small, small. Pay small, small as you can.
Yeah, it's part of
education. It's part of the trap.
The whole format and trap, exactly.
Trap. Don't worry. How much school fees is 400? But you can pay small, small. Pay 50.
Real long distance.
Yeah.
I'd agree to Harvard.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us this morning for Wake Up Conversations. We have a lot to look at today on Breakfast Central. So let's share with you what the top stories are today. Today on Breakfast Central, NLC pushes for fresh review of minimum wage, affirms readiness for national struggle. We'll be examining the Lagos waste management crisis. It is terrible, what we're seeing. We'll be looking at that, those who have been dumping waste in the canals. Protest trails APC governorship primaries in Ondo and Kwara State. Reps probe xenophobic attacks and resolve to probe South African government's involvement. Front pages of the newspapers will be reviewed. Our guests will join us, and at that point, we'll open the phone lines for you to call and share your thoughts as well. Stay with us.
The House of Representatives is resolved to investigate the extent to which the South African government may have been complicit in the recurring attacks against Nigerians. This follows a motion raised in plenary as lawmakers expressed concerns, accusing South African government officials of always making inciting statements which may have supported the attacks on Nigerians and other African nationals. News Central's Edong Joseph reports.
Resuming plenary after dedicating the previous week to its National Assembly's open week, lawmakers resolved to investigate the extent to which the South African government may have contributed to the recurring xenophobic attacks against Nigerians.
Worried that every successive wave of xenophobic violence has been followed by public condemnation and diplomatic protests, without a corresponding institutional effort to comprehensively document the losses suffered by Nigerians, thereby denying the federal government and the National Assembly an authoritative evidential basis for policy formulation.
Mr. Speaker, I think that this amendment is very important to hold the South African government accountable. Their public officials are making inciting statements through acts of omission. They are indulging their citizens without holding them accountable. So we need to know, Mr. Speaker, the degree to which, yes, incited, the degree to which the South African government is also complicit.
Following the resolution, the House mandated its Committee on Diaspora and Foreign Affairs to investigate the attacks and assess the losses, damages, and casualties suffered by Nigerians. Lawmakers also adopted a motion calling for measures to address the rising cases of foodborne diseases.
Mr. Speaker, this House is very concerned that due to food shame and lack of professionalism associated with food preparation and production in Nigeria, the country continues to lose an estimated huge amount of $3.6 billion, I repeat, $3.6 billion yearly to foodborne illnesses through lost productivity, medical expenses, and trade limitations, especially across national borders.
Among other several legislative matters was the submission of report by the Committee on Constitutional Review on a bill seeking to alter the Constitution to provide for the establishment of state police services, which is now expected to be considered by the House for onward passage. In Abuja for News Central, Idong Joseph.
And we look forward to seeing what the resolve of the probe into these xenophobic attacks will yield. But now let's tell you that the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs has distanced itself from the controversial Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council, PFIPC, saying that it had never had any official engagement with the council or its embattled Director General. Appearing before the House panel on behalf of the minister, the permanent secretary of the ministry, Dunoma Ahmed, says that Prince Adeyemi, who presented himself as the Director General of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council and the PFIPC, approached the ministry on 3 separate occasions seeking collaboration and endorsement to host a World Investment Summit in Nigeria, but were declined after due diligence. According to the permanent secretary, the ministry subsequently wrote to the Office of the National Security Advisor seeking clarification on the status of Prince Adeyemi as Director General of the PFIPC.
Specifically, the ministry received the first, second, and third request on 26 June 2025, 5th August 2025, and 5th June 2026, respectively. However, guided by extant rules and regulations, as well as the necessity of carrying out due diligence before obliging any request, the ministry did not take any action on that request, on those requests.
We will stay here unfailingly on Thursday, Friday, Saturday until we finish this assignment with all the relevant officers and document requested by the committee and any other document, even if it is not requested by the committee. So as long as the ministry feel that it will add value to this investigation, it should be presented to us. Let there be no misunderstanding. Thursday is a final opportunity for every defaulting agency to comply. We don't want representation.
Well, the drama regarding the PFIPC doesn't seem to be coming to an end. It's just that maybe it didn't generate as much dust as many had hoped that it will. It seems that, yes, it's still being talked about, but not to the extent that many would have expected. What will then bring this matter back up is after the 30 days that the president has given the ICPC, once this 30 days elapses and nothing is done, then Nigerians will understand the severity of what this is, or the seriousness or lack thereof of the presidency to be able to deal with this matter decisively, because we do understand the magnitude of what this is, how an agency would get a line item in the budget, how this agency has a DG, has staff, has a secretariat, not in any random place, but in an official secretariat. And then they later come out to say that this agency is a fake agency. We really don't understand.
I think kudos to the House of Representatives. They seem to be very serious with this probe. Yesterday, it was the Central Bank of Nigeria. They sent a representative to this probe. Questions were answered, and this is what Nigerians demand: accountability. And yesterday was also the turn of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who said, look, they didn't grant any request to the so-called PFIPC. So, but we're not privy to what is happening, on the other hand, with the ICPC. So I guess they're also carrying out their investigation. By the time the 30-day window that was given by Mr. President elapses, we'll probably have a report on that. But I think the time for talking is over. Let the investigators do what they are expected to do, and Nigerians are keenly watching to see how this drama unfolds.
Well, we'll wait. From my own point of view, there's a lot, there's back and forth. Just yesterday was uncovered, the CBN said they got the directive from the Office of the Secretary General to open the account. So that's different from what was said by members of some members of the presidency, even that negates or cancels the press release or statement that were made online, especially by senior assistants to the president, that, oh, these accounts, they were forged and so on. I don't know if you get the point. You say the accounts were forged. You said the documents were forged. CBN is now saying we were instructed, we're directed
by this office
to open.
Secretary to the government.
There's also the case of, that office originally belonged to the office of the Secretary General of the Federation.
Secretary to the
government of the Federation, that office. How is it that the keys exchanged hands? How is it that this embattled DG, who we can't call Prince again, set up his office, sat down, had the pictures of the president? In that same office, we're also told that some senators passed there. They passed there, the secretariat. Some just say, okay, let me just go to the secretariat. And they passed there. They possibly passed, how are you, Oga? Hey, you are doing well, oh. Well done, eh? Okay, what's going on?
I mean, he's had meetings where he had stakeholders, senior members of diplomatic corps, members of the military attend. So why didn't they flag all of this? So they're still... I guess let the investigators do their jobs.
Let them do their job, but we must commend the House of Representatives for deciding to take it on. However, bear in mind that the accused, the person who's been accused, was a speaker of the House of Representatives too, if you recall. And so Nigerians are looking if what will come out of this one. But we like the way it's going, and we do hope that even us from the media would get a closure on this. We need to understand the processes. But there is no way on earth any individual will say that even those in government will not be affected by this, because the individual is not, it doesn't have superpowers. He couldn't have teleported into that building or may have carried out an event by himself. But let's see what's coming up next here on Breakfast Central as we wind straight into the second hour. Coming up next, we'll be examining Lagos waste management crisis. This is a big conversation. Protest trails APC governorship primaries in Ondo and Kwara state. We hear some persons are not happy at all. Defense Minister denies resignation rumor. We'll look at that as well, even though we've touched on it, but we'll look at some other aspects of it. So stay with us. People's Party has accused the Independent National Electoral Commission of failing to promptly comply with recent court judgments concerning the party. The move, it says, has disrupted its preparations for the 2027 general elections. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the party's national chairman, Abgo Major, says that although INEC has now restored the party's original logo and leadership on its portal, the delay denied the party valuable time to organize its activities and nominate candidates. The national chairman says that the NNPP will seek legal interpretation from the Federal High Court over what it describes as INEC's failure to obey valid court orders.
In the next few days, few weeks, we will be approaching the Federal High Court to help us ask INEC why they chose to do what they did to us. INEC should be able to explain to us why they ignored those court judgments, including not just the Abia High Court ruling, but also the Owerri Appeal Court judgment, and then lately the FCT High Court mandamus order. Government agencies must learn to respect and abide by provisions of the court. That's the hub on which democracy rotates.
For generations, the meat trade in Nigeria has been dominated by men. But changing economic realities are rewriting that story. In parts of the country, more women are stepping into abattoirs and meat stalls, taking on a profession once considered exclusive for men. News Central's Alex Ogbonnaya reports.
For decades, this was a trade almost entirely reserved for men. The physically demanding nature of slaughtering and selling meat, coupled with long-held cultural beliefs, kept many women away. But at the Orio-Bako market in Mbitoli local government area of Imo State, that tradition is steadily giving way to a new reality.
I'm I'm at the meat section of Orio Obako in Mbitoli local government area. It's a big market. And like I said, I'm at the meat section. And of course, you can see so many women doing this business. This used to be a business for men, but lately the women are taking over. I can count 12 women who, from my position where I'm standing, who are selling meat before I count up to like 5, 6 men. That tells you that the women are really taking over. We'll have to speak to some of them and let them tell us, why they are into this business.
What a man can do, a woman can also do it. And for us to help our husband, because we're in a hard country. So instead of staying at home, we have to join our husband so that we can train our children perfectly. They have mastered me already. Yes. Sometimes it's hurt our skin, but as a matter of fact, there's something we can do. You understand? Because everything you are doing, you must have challenges.
Their growing presence is gradually changing perceptions. Many male meat sellers say the business is no longer the exclusive preserve of men, adding that the entry of women has encouraged healthy competition and improved customer service.
A man's supposed to take care of the family, be feeding the women. But because of the things, it's not going well in Nigeria now. Because the women are supposed to come out and help the man to survive in the family. That's the reason why. The women are supposed to join the men on the business. If you watch in Nigeria now, some women are driving keke bus.
Before, it is only men that sell meat in the market. But now, it is not a surprise that we saw women selling meat, joining men to hustle. The business now has joined together. Even where we buy it, women also buy the way we buy, and they also sell the way we sell.
Buyers share a similar view, insisting that quality, hygiene, and fair pricing matter more than the gender of the person behind the stall.
Since our own is too difficult for us to carry on our husbands to carry on, so have to be supportive to them, to help them, to carry ahead the family matters.
The first woman to venture into the meat trade at this market may no longer be alive, but the path she pioneered continues to inspire others. Today, more women are entering the business, challenging stereotypes and proving that skill and determination, not gender, define success in the trade. In Imo for News Central, Alex Obunaya.
So well done, first of all, to Alex. But this thing is not new. I must say that women have been in the meat business.
I mean, it's new for me. I've spent most of my life in the southwestern part of Nigeria. And I find it interesting.
Let me shock you.
If it wasn't for this report, I wouldn't know that they're female butchers.
Do you know that in Delta State, where I schooled, I hardly ever saw a man sell meat? In the market,
so it's male-dominated?
Female-dominated.
Female-dominated.
In Yanga market, when you go to buy meat, you see the women, they are the ones that are doing...
What's the name of the market?
Yanga.
They used to do a lot of Yanga.
They used to do a lot of Yanga. And not just that, too. Even the motorcycles.
Did you know that women
ride motorcycles?
No, I don't know. But I know about the women motorcycles.
Oh, yes.
I know
yeah.
about that one.
So there are lots of women who...
the Republic of Benin.
Delta State is we are very,
Most especially Guashuko. Are you looking at maybe after your retirement go into this butchery business, package it? There's money in it. And I need to commend the market stalls for
see how organized it is.
Hygiene,
because
quality, and organization. Because you could hardly see flies there, even though it was in the open. So, and the meat looks palatable. It's making me crave for suya this morning. But they don't sell suya during the day because darkness is an ingredient in making suya.
Okay, kudos to the women, and not just in Imo State, to women around Nigeria who are thriving in industries that many typically would refer to as male-dominated industries. Women are defying norms. Kudos to them.
I prefer this business to Kulen business.
And Akara.
Yes.
Okay, I agree. All right, we're going to break, and when we come back, we'll get into our first interviews for today. So please stay with us.
First, it was Lagos floods. Then next, it was dirty Lagos. So does Lagos ever catch a break? Well, concerns are mounting among Lagos residents over growing heaps of refuse across several parts of the state, with many warning that the situation is becoming a major environmental and public health risk particularly as the rainy season intensifies. Residents fear that uncollected waste could block drainages, channels, and not forgetting to worsen flooding and create breeding grounds for disease-carrying pests.
Environmental experts warn that prolonged waste accumulation can contaminate land and nearby water bodies through leachates, pollute rivers, canals, and lagoons, destroy aquatic ecosystems, and increase the risk of waterborne diseases such as cholera, typhoid, and diarrhea. Open waste dumps can also attract rodents and insects, produce harmful air pollutants through decomposition or burning, and expose surrounding communities to serious health hazards. In response, the Lagos State government has directed an immediate scale-up of waste evacuation operations with agencies including the Lagos State Waste Management Authority, LOMA, the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA, and the Ministry of the Environment, intensifying efforts to clear refuse and improve environmental sanitation. To discuss the current environmental pollution situation in Lagos, we're joined by the General Manager of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA, Dr. Babatunde Ajayi. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Ajayi.
Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. What is happening to Lagos? There seems to be a lot of complaints. First of all, when the flooding started, part of the pushback was beyond the canals and the buildings that were built on canals. There was also citizens who were blamed for throwing dump into the drainages. And then we spoke with the citizens, and there's been massive complaints. A number of them saying PSP doesn't come to collect their waste. There's nowhere. Where are they expecting them to throw their waste? So what is happening with waste management in Lagos?
Thank you very much. I would first like to, like the Honorable Commissioner for Environment and everybody else has acknowledged, there was indeed a time when the pace of collection was not as efficient as it used to be. But all of that is corrected now, and people can already testify that waste collection has improved. Also, with the rains, you would expect that the landfill and the dump sites will be harder to climb, and with the intensity of the rains over the past few weeks, it sort of reduced the ease of dumping, the ease of discharge of waste on our landfills. So that slowed down collection for a bit, because until you dump, you can then go back to pick up. But, there's been corrective measures. If you go through the media in the past 24 hours, you see that there's been extensive renovation around the Olusosun landfill. And then waste collection has improved over the past week.
Now, let's talk about LASEPA's mandate. LASEPA is the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency. Is the agency meant to act on violations that destroy the environment? Or are there ways where you can be proactive and prevent some of these things from happening? Because oftentimes what we see is enforcement after the act has been done from LASEPA.
Right, so there are two ways to get pollution prevented or get work done. First one is intense advocacy. Then you can now follow it up with enforcement. So advocacy is, that part of it where you have to continuously engage, citizens, residents across different strata. You also have to make sure that the message gets to them in a way that they understand. On that leg, we have done a lot of work. If you go through our media, you would have seen a lot of the advocacy efforts, from cholera advocacy to noise pollution to oil pollution and all kinds of things. Everything that is around our mandate, So we have intensively done proper advocacy to the residents of Lagos. But in the situation where you don't get as much compliance in certain sectors, then you don't have to move on to enforcement. So we do enforcement, and we think that enforcement is the one that gets into the media the most because, of course, bad news travels the fastest. The moment you conduct an enforcement activity, all of the media picks it up, and then it looks like it's only enforcement that LASEPA does. But we do at least 70% advocacy and about 30% enforcement.
Just before I defer to my colleagues, I want to also know if it's against the law to leave waste on the median of roads, or people encouraged to put it there so that when this PSP trucks do the rounds, they can pick them up?
So there's a clear pattern for Lagos, right? There's a clear regulation. You must take responsibility for the waste you generate. It's called the polluter pay principle, and it's applied world over, everywhere in the world. So whenever you generate waste in your house, you must pay the PSPs and then PSPs pick up.
So what we have on the screen is illegal. You shouldn't...
It is very illegal. Clearly, it is illegal. And a lot of, if you go through the media again, a lot of people have been, you know, arrested, detained, sent to court for environmental offenses like this, dumping waste in the middle of the road. And we've done this back to back. You know, government has over time intensified, you know, enforcement efforts. What we've also seen is that in particular spaces where you have street trading and roadside markets, they end up dumping the waste in the median, you know. And,
Oregon markets is one example that is very...
Yeah.
I drive past that place on my way to work every day, and it's very unsightly.
It's a tough one. I also wanted to ask very quickly, in other parts of the world, we're seeing where waste issues are dealt with by the government in manners and ways in which shows creativity. Is the Lagos State government thinking of creative means and ways or strategy in this case on how to deal with this waste collection? And if there is, I would like to hear on what they are, because in other parts of the world, I mean, we've seen where they've done reward schemes, especially for PSPs. Reward schemes in the sense that if you could clear out this area, who clears out this area faster, you get XYZ rewards. Even the residents, I stumbled on a video of a lady, she's African, I can't remember the country right now. She created this dumpster where if you dump, it pays you. And that process saw the entire zone tidied up in due time by residents. Not even the PSPs couldn't compete with the residents because the reward was not going to go to them. The residents ensured that you people won't get the reward. We will be the ones to get the reward. We'll clean our zones, we'll put it there so we can get the money. Is Lagos State thinking about that? Because it seems like pretty much the process is being put in place. Either it's slow or it's not working.
Okay, that's a very interesting angle to come from. And I'll tell you that from maybe the past 10, 12 years, I know Lagos has intensified the waste segregation advocacy, right? So you must separate, waste separation rather, you must separate your waste from source, from your house. So if you separated waste as organic, plastic, and paper or recyclable, then people who sell paper or who now manufacture paper bags will buy the paper from you. People who buy plastic will buy the plastic from you, right? Then the organic waste goes to the power generation plant. What we also need to realize, and Lagos has been doing that over the years, there's a lot of advocacy around that. You just need to tell people to buy 3 bins. I know that even in my house, we have, over the past 5 years, heard many times that we must buy 3 bins. I have, and I have complied, but many other people, particularly in the not so organized neighborhoods, you know, are not, they don't see the incentives yet. So people buy plastic, and this is public knowledge. People buy paper for the paper industries around us in Ikeja here. And I know that these same things that you talk about reward also exist in Lagos. In fact, there are certain spots where you throw in plastic into a machine and you get a reward. You know, the reward can be a token on your card. You can load your card or your cowrie card.
Is this in Lagos?
Yes, it is in Lagos. Now, so all of those things exist. But what is most important for us is to understand that it is unrealistic that a state like Lagos with limited land can just afford to keep dumping in one spot, right? That spot is going to fill up. If it doesn't fill up today, in the next 10 years, it's going to fill up because the population keeps increasing. So what we advocate now is that we need to start separating waste, and more people need to be engaged in that separation so that the landfills will get less than 1/3 of what is generated at home. You know, the plastic can go to the plastic recycling factories, the paper will go to the paper recycling factories, the carton will go to the carton recycling factories, and then you have maybe less than 1/3 on the landfills. So it's a culture that has to change. Cultural change is about the largest, is maybe the most difficult thing to achieve, you know, on one sweep. It's gradual, but people are beginning to get the message. Starting with upscale neighborhoods and places where you have control, like gated estates and all of those places where you have regulations, you know, self-regulated systems.
Okay, I wonder how long it will take for us to be able to implement this, because honestly, what we find is Nigerians who are not able to separate waste. When any of us travel abroad, we separate our waste abroad,
Yeah.
but somehow when it comes back home, we're not able to replicate that here. When you say that the waste collection has improved, do you mean in the past week, in the past 2 weeks? Because we are getting a pushback. We have one of our viewers who says that the waste collection hasn't eased, but they have been out more recently, that the trucks are old. He says that one is broken down with refuse just beside his daughter's school, and they're not even done with their exams. So how recently would you say this has improved? And, for people who have scenarios like this, is there a platform by which maybe they can make reports and get something done about it? So
the waste collecting agency, LOMA, I can tell you clearly that it has improved. The person even acknowledged that they've been out more. Like, if on the first statement is it hasn't improved. The second statement is they've been out more. So clearly people have seen that there's more activity with waste collection. I can say in the past 3 weeks, really. The intense 1 week rain disrupted, logistics. And this is not just waste collection logistics, statewide logistics. And waste collection is mostly a logistics, thing. So collecting has improved since the rains reduced. And we know that it will only double up from here. We can assure you, and the MD Loma has said it himself many times, that there's no way that you won't ramp up activities. So activities have increased, and I know that government is more particular. We've got new trucks. The commissioner said on air yesterday, we've got new trucks, and that has sort of added to the fleet. The ones that break down have sort of been taken out of the system, so the new ones will take it over from here.
All right, well, let's go on a break, and when we come back, we'll take more conversations regarding waste management in Lagos. If you'd like to share your thoughts, we're streaming live on YouTube, News Central TV Live. Please head there, drop your comments, questions, and contribution. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still looking at waste management in Lagos. Now, before we went on the break, we had spoken about, the culture, or, some of the challenges. You spoke about having reward system for separation of waste in different parts of Lagos. But let's also talk about something that we see, burning of refuse. It's something that a number of us saw growing up, and it's still prevalent. So how is LASEPA handling this? Are there measures that are being put in place? And to some people, they don't think there's anything wrong. It's just a little bit of dustbin. I'm just burning it instead of throwing it inside the canal. First of all, is there anything wrong in burning your refuse? And if yes, how is LASEPA dealing with this?
So burning refuse is about the most archaic way to manage solid waste, to be honest. And it not only causes a problem for the land on which you are burning it, it also is an emissions issue, right? So there's intense air pollution from waste burning. Also, many people can't figure out the potential hazards that can happen from burning simple things like maybe batteries that you just overlook. It can cause an explosion. So there's so many things wrong with waste burning, but the one that we usually will take anybody up on is the emissions from it. So regulated quality and emissions in Lagos. And at every point where we find waste burning, the first thing we do is to stop the action. If it happens in the middle of the night, and a neighbor reports, then in the morning we serve them a first sanction. And we understand that sanctions are the only way that you can get people to comply with regulations, right? So we serve them with sanctions. If they don't stop, we go to seal the building. If it's a residential, whether it's residential or commercial, we seal the building. You don't find it as common as it used to be. I mean, I remember growing up, it used to be worse than this.
Everywhere.
You don't find it as common as it used to be. But, the little pockets that we find, I can tell you that we've reduced it by over 60 to 70%, and this is in the past 3 years.
Now, Dr. Ajay, let's talk about the Olusoso dump that has been playing on our screen. What's the Lagos State government's plan for this particular dump site?
Well, so the government has said many times that the dump site is going to be shut down, and I know that it is currently in the works. It is also the largest landfill site that you have in Nigeria. We all know that we generate intense waste, and shutting it down takes a while. It's a process, right? So you have to first do some kind of rehabilitation so you don't have explosions here and there, methane emissions and things like that are bad for the environment. So the shutdown is gradual, and it's going to eventually happen. Like I said, there's a remodeling that is happening now just to reduce the environmental pollution from that space.
So where would the waste that typically goes to Olusoso, where would it go to? Because many people have said it's one of the reasons why we've seen delays in collection of waste by PSPs in many residential areas, especially around the Ikeja axis. Is there an interim, or what's the plan for the dump trucks that typically come here to dump their waste after collection?
Okay, so like I said earlier, I know that the Waste Management Authority is right on top of it. The information I have given you is mostly what is even publicly available, right? But I know, again, as a member of the environment family, I know that the management of dump sites is not something Lagos is sleeping on. If you have more recent videos and drone views like you've seen, like you've projected, you will see that there's a lot of remodeling happening now. Mm-hmm. With that remodeling, it gives you some room to, salvage about a third of it at the very least, and then you can now take in more. What usually happens with dump sites and landfills globally when they're done is to cover it up and then maybe turn it into a golf course or, grow lawn on it.
A park, yes.
Yes, a park. And it becomes a beautiful part of the city. This is a lot of land in the center of town now. It used to be in the outskirts, right? So we know that the Lagos Waste Management Authority is doing intense work on it, and we were sure over the next couple of years, you see that 18 months, it should be shut down.
I mean, you said yes, so that means it's going to take a long time if care is not taken. Do we have a specific number of years?
I also said 18 months.
18 months?
Yes.
That's
18 months. Yeah. That's like a year and
6
a few months.
Yeah.
But I also like to look at it from a different angle and different perspective as well. I recall, and I'm going to say this always, anytime I seem to have someone representative from the government, because we still have to go back to the same government, which was still under the APC, and I'm talking about the governor, Governor Fashola SAN, during his time. Is there any possibility that LASEPA, alongside other agencies, environmental families of Lagos State, would plan to possibly have an investment plan for those who want to come and support the government? So that maybe you need more trucks, maybe they need more personnel, maybe they need more, maybe a PPP, so that it can help ease off the stress. Because the comments we have on YouTube here, people are saying, go to Broad Street, Inward Martin Street. I did see this one 2 days ago. Someone was there and said, it is horrible. And it seems like Lagos State, let's be honest, it seems like Lagos State is overwhelmed. You don't know where to start from.
word too.
We've seen instances where you clear the place, before you look back and come again, the heap of dirt, or it's back again. So are you looking at any investment plan?
I think the PSP structure first is a PPP, right? It's a public-private partnership. And we need to realize that government definitely cannot do it alone. In fact, one of the core areas where you find Lagos thriving is public-private partnerships. And with waste management, public-private partnerships have soared over the years, from few numbers to over 400, partners who collect waste. Even those that pick waste, waste pickers, people who segregate, who help you segregate plastic from paper and the organic waste, they're increasing in number. And more importantly, there are a lot of development partners who have invested in waste management as well. Lagos has a PPP with a few organizations who help us, create all of these sorting facilities, waste sorting facilities. And they are currently setting up, at Olusoso, which is why I said if you had a more recent view or if you had a more recent visit, you'd actually see them set up the material recovery facilities. So, material recovery is recovering everything that's of value. So you take out the plastic from the general waste that comes in, you create bin bags and, the plastic, the bins themselves, and then give it back to the people. You take out the paper from it, you recycle it and create paper bags, And then that is done at a very large scale. The other dump sites are also doing the same. So we know that, again, waste management for every metropolitan city and any city that is growing at this pace is an issue. It is not unique to Lagos. However, Lagos is intensifying efforts to make sure that, this doesn't become a public health risk, which is where we come in as LASEPA.
Okay, when you were speaking earlier, you spoke to how this is a culture problem. How do we then rewrite this culture challenge? What can be done to make citizens also think about separating their waste, think about not throwing dirt into the canal? What needs to be done?
So there are a few...
especially those market areas. It's an eyesore.
There are a few things. The first one is regulation. We have the regulation. Second one is advocacy. From time to time, we keep, we have to continuously discuss and engage all of the stakeholders. Stakeholders are the people who are in that chain, right? Markets, roadside traders, all of those people. A lot of them have large bins where they can dump, but because they are roadside traders, there's no registration or responsibility that is tied to that person, so you can't exactly track who it is. Person dumps at 5 a.m. in the morning, you may not be able to find them. So it's a large-scale advocacy that we need to intensify, over the next couple of months. We know that has started, but it's a culture change. Culture is not something you can change overnight. It takes a while. It's gradual. It is education from primary, secondary schools, telling children that you cannot dump waste here. It is also making them understand that there's value in all of these small things that you take out, right? So everybody now has a mindset that I can separate this and sell to this chain. I can separate this and sell to this line, and then get some money out of it. We also have an organic waste conversion unit, is a biodigester plant at the K2 Fruit Market, where organic waste is actually converted to electricity to power the entire market. So there's none of these lines of management that Lagos is not active on. It is just that as a people, we need to be deliberate ourselves. At the end of the day, maybe enforcement will, large-scale enforcement will work.
And that brings me to my next question, talking about enforcement, because there's only a level of advocacy you can do, but if the people aren't taking it to heart, then I guess it's time to wield the big stick. And many have said maybe the Lagos state government is lax when it comes to enforcement because of sensitivity of elections, and they don't want to offend people and step on people's toes. But those that dump refuse on the medians, on the roads that mess up the environment. I mean, I've lived in Lagos for most of my life, and there are places that I've never seen refuse dumped, and I'm seeing it now. There's a frequency of it. Okpebi Road, for example, just behind Ilioja, there's I don't know when they dump this refuse, and I also think maybe Lagos, they can collaborate with some of the neighborhood watch people to help apprehend some of those guys in the middle of the night. So is there, what's the enforcement policy like, especially those market areas that are notorious for dumping refuse on the road?
So I can tell you clearly and categorically that there's no other ministry that has a stronger enforcement team than the Environment Ministry. So we have two dedicated agencies for enforcement. And this is because of the large scale of enforcement that we have to do. So there's the the Environmental Safety Corps, LAGESC, that you all know as KAI. And then there's the Environmental Task Force. And from time to time, if you go to KAI's social media handle, you'll see a lot of enforcement activity on a daily basis. Market people are arrested, people crossing the road, people peeing and stooling in the middle of the road. All kinds of environmental offenses are being, enforced every day. We know that enforcement is also the best way to do advocacy. If people see that 10 people were arrested today, it reduces the confidence of the next guy that wants to, take the same step. So again, we will just intensify advocacy and enforcement. Enforcement, we think, is the best way to do advocacy. It's about the most efficient way to make people stop bad behavior or to deter them from polluting the environment further. But we can see, it's obvious that environment enforcement is intense, right, in Lagos. We just need to, maybe at night, have more people.
Okay, there's also the concern about, are we really x-raying the health implications of this? Because, for example, the smell at 7-Up, the odor, I don't know what is being done to handle that. There are Nigerians who are complaining about the fact that the health implication, is that taken into consideration? How people have to inhale this? Constantly, people complain of death getting into their pipelines, and then them having to experience this reality every day. Is the health part of this whole challenge being taken into consideration?
Yes, the fulcrum of environmental work is the quality of life of residents, right? Environmental protection is all about public health. And what we've done so far is to make sure that different levers of this pollution you talked about have been paid attention. So For the smell at Olusosun, not 7-Up. 7-Up is a company.
Sorry.
for the dump site, I mean, there's no way in the world where you call it a dump site and you don't expect it to smell, right? You're not going to spray perfumes or cover a dump
because on the road.
It's not. So we have air quality monitors, and we need to separate bad smell from harmful smell to the health, right? Yeah, bad is not, or pungent or offensive odor is not necessarily damaging to your health. That is the first.
So the Olusosun one is not damaging to you?
Wait now, you fart on yourself every day and you don't die from it.
No, not this one is like millions
smell,
of
right?
farts. No,
it doesn't smell like it.
No.
It's toxic fat.
No. So it is not toxic, and which is why it doesn't have the particulate matter that can kill or that can harm your health. We have more than 5 air quality monitors around that dump site and on the dump site. And we can tell you that the particulate matter that can initiate or that can trigger the health consequences do not exist in the smell that you perceive. So there's a clear distinction between offensive and deleterious. Yeah, it is an offensive smell. We all admit that it's an offensive smell, but it's not necessarily dangerous to your health. It's not going to kill. People live around there. There are buildings. You can see from your videos. There are buildings around there, and people live on the dump site. Even the waste pickers live on the dump site, and they are not falling down to die every day. While we must manage it, we also are keeping an eye on it. And our air quality monitor data is on our website. If you go to lasepa.gov.ng, you see the air quality data from every part of Lagos, more than 200 of them. You can tell the parts that are dangerous, and Olusosun is not one of those places where you get triggers and alarms every day, right? So for people who are very concerned about it, yes, we understand it's a problem or it's a challenge, but it is not killing people as they claim.
When the plans manifest for Olusosun and it becomes a waste to wealth thing that the Lagos State government is planning, would there be less offensive smells and odor coming out from?
Of course, yes, there will be. So the moment you are able to efficiently...
And is it the entire Olusosun that is going to be converted?
Wait, so the moment you are able to efficiently segregate, right, the thing that smells is the organic waste. Is the fish head from your kitchen and the beans that smells. The plastic will, if you keep all of the plastic together, it's not going to smell in 10 years. Put all the paper together, it's not going to smell in 10 years. The organic waste will now be converted to energy. So what we're saying is that if we are able to efficiently separate and segregate as we have planned to or set out to, all of the organic waste will now enter the waste to energy chain, right? And then be able to generate energy on the one side. And that is what smells. So in effect, it means that when the plans come to fruition, the smell will reduce significantly or disappear if possible.
So in 18 months, Olive, that's
18 months, we're going to revisit
Olusosun area, not 7-Up. We'll stop.
It's based off the popular way that Nigerians relate.
You can set it. You can set it.
People don't know the name.
And invite me in
18 months.
So the clock starts now. 18 months.
No, I think it started since. It started since. Yes. Maybe they have 16 months now because it started since. Or is it 18 months on the dot?
I mean, the one you're hearing from my mouth.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ajayi.
You're welcome.
General Manager, Lagos State Environment Protection Agency. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
It's a pleasure.
And we didn't talk about noise pollution.
That's another. How were you reading my mind? I was like, we'll invite him later to talk about.
Do you own a church?
I have a church close to my window.
Okay.
Wow, your window.
No, but I'm happy. I know the contact I have of him is the old one, so I'm going to get the new one. My window.
You don't want to go to heaven.
Window.
They are guaranteeing yourself.
Does it just happen on Sundays?
No. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Allow them. They're praising God.
Then Sundays, I can't.
You're not a child of God.
He doesn't want to go to heaven.
It's a small inconvenience.
I don't know him.
That you cannot take.
Please don't mind my question.
Don't jeopardize your salvation.
Don't jeopardize your kingdom of heaven because of small noise.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ajayi.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Okay. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at, of course, breakfast headlines. Plus, we'll also have more conversations to go into. So stay with us. Tensions are rising in Ondo and Kwara State as
Protests erupt over the APC's upload of governorship candidates. Citizens are voicing anger, questioning transparency and demanding clarity on the party's internal processes. In Ondo, protesters say the process sidelines popular aspirants, while in Kwara, the mood is equally tense. Now, the political atmosphere is charged with uncertainty, and the big question is whether the party is listening to its members or simply dictating from the top.
Join us this morning for this discussion is a member of the APC, Honorable Akintayo. Good morning to you, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters. I'm happy to be with you this morning.
Now, the first question is on the spirit of internal democracy within your party. Protesters say the APC primaries were marred by imposition, by Babasope politics. Was the process truly democratic? I see you smile there. I hope we get an honest response after that smile.
Well, you know, when you use, when you use that, I think it sounds like a Yoruba acronyms or slangs. It makes me like a bit laugh, you know. So, but all the same, to answer your question, I will say that, when you have a very big contest like we had during the last primaries, you're bound to have misunderstanding, conflicts, and disagreements. Of course, there will always be winners and losers, and it is expected that people will be aggrieved, and I think the best thing the party should do is to make sure there are processes for reconciliation. And I can tell you for sure, based on the knowledge that I have within the internal workings of the party, there are ongoing reconciliation processes to make sure all contending forces, are reconciled, So even I, for one, I know that even the National Party chairman is going from one place to the other, reaching out to the gladiators and the interest groups within the party. So it's expected. Yes, there is no perfect democracy in the world. Likewise, in Nigeria. You can see from 1999, we've been having people going to court over this, maybe disputes in the election, general election, or internal election in the party. And it won't be new in 2026, so or 2027 election as we look forward. So, like I said, I think the party so far has been proactive. Yes, we've seen protests in Ondo State from, there will always be contending forces. Likewise, we have in our various homes and families. People will contend, people want to be heard, people want their interests to be protected, and that is what democracy is all about. So, but the assurance we're giving to Nigerians, because by and large, we are the largest party in Africa so far. And when you have a large party, a large home like that, there will always be people who feel they are not being listened to or their interest is not quite well protected. But our mechanism to settle conflict is intact, and I'm sure even the president is a Democrat, right? And someone that will not want his party to be in conflict, because we need to go to the next election with one house, a united front, and bury the other party as they're already in the process of being buried.
Okay. You said that everything is, bottom line, everything is fine, everything is going well. But are you aware that currently it's a situation of what they ordered versus what they got? Some aggrieved members of your party are saying that what they voted for seems like it's not what they're going to get. And how does this make your party solid going into 2027, where voting had taken place, results were kind of like announced, but then again, statements were made that don't announce results yet, hold on until we go to the Federal Capital Territory. Is that not rewriting the process again to benefit a few persons?
Well, the thing is that, you see, I don't know the individuals that you interviewed to hear their own complaints. Everybody will complain. There will definitely people will complain. And that's why you see, even before the election, the primaries took place, there were committees, appeal committees that were set up because they envisaged that this kind of complaint will come, and you can't really blame the national for intervening when people there are grievances that have not been settled within the contest period or contest state per se. So I would not want to agree with you completely that it's a national body that announces result, because I am aware of some of my friends or colleagues who went for the primary assignment. Some of them did what they had to do, announced result, and they were smooth, right? There is no conflict. But so I can't say that generally it's all over the states. It's so like, yes, we have obvious complaints in Ondo and Kwara, in Benue. Yes, just pocket of states. And like I told you, individuals. It depends on whose voice you heard most. Everybody will complain when they are interested or they don't see themselves as a winner. You know, Nigerian politics. It is when you win that it seems democracy is doing well. It's when you lose, people will complain that democracy has been usurped. So, by and large, I think there are processes, and before the general election, all I's will be dotted and all T's will be crossed within the system, and it is ongoing. I think we should give the party that benefit of doubt to.
Sorry to butt in. Sorry to cut in. You said you don't know, but let me bring you up to speed. We did cover the elections here at News Central, and we did speak to some of your members. But let me track back, particularly looking at May. In May 2026, just a few months ago, APC says primary election results not final. And what the information contained in this report and update says that the results that were announced in some of the polling units on Friday, that was the day for the announcement, after the calculations were done, collation, it clarified that the results emerging from its primary elections conducted across states of the Federation were not yet final. Your party also said that a formal declaration of winners would only be made after the conclusion of its internal appeal processes. So this gave rise to some of your members who said, well, we're not appealing because from the calculations, we've won. And then this also gave rise to some who knew they had lost to say, oh, okay, if there's this window, then let's quickly appeal as well. So that's why we're highlighting, that's where the question came from. But don't you think if those who have been announced as winners, they should be winners? Why do you say, oh, you know what, hold on first, but we still have to go to Abuja to really clarify things?
Well, I think what you're trying to paint is that probably the elections were not democratic. But I want to also differ with you a bit, because like in your statement, you said some of our members, not all our members. And I also followed the primaries very well. Some states were declared. And when the national body saw that there were protests when some of these election or primaries election was declared, they said, look, I think we should stop this. There should be slow down on election declaration. Let them bring it, whatever result they have, which of course is already computed. Send it to Abuja. Let us, scrutinize the process. And after scrutinization of the process, and look at the appeal committee, because they were working simultaneously, then a name is being declared. And if there are grievances, which will always be. Like, for example, let me take, for example, Benue State, where, there were complaints from the governor's side and the SGF side. What they have to do now is to come to the table and say, look, you cannot have it all. Let us find a way to make sure there is fairness within the contending functions or group, rather. So and here we are. I think they have already resolved or settled the issue. So I think that is also the template they are trying to use. But I bit disagree with that Abuja declaration. I don't think the party we want to delegitimize the voters or the members of the party that have done the right thing to vote the candidate they want. So it's not about Abuja declaration. It's about scrutinizing the process so that there will be fairness and justice to all members. So I think I disagree with you. Just like you said it's few members. Few members who always talk, but not every. I'm sure if you interview every members of the party, everybody have different view or different opinion or the kind of different parties or different candidates they support. So I think we should just allow the process to take its course.
Okay. Does your party have internal dispute mechanism, dispute resolution mechanism? And what is it like for the aggrieved members, the aggrieved party members? Because you said some. So we can all conclude and agree that there are a number of people that are disgruntled within the party. We saw the protest. So the question is, what is the internal dispute resolution mechanism that your party employs? Because I remember you saying at some point that the president is a Democrat, you're sure he will want this resolved. So how will it be resolved? Will the president have to step in?
I think the president already stepped in because even before the primary took place, I'm sure your news media must have seen that the president appointed some of his close aides to monitor the process and revert back to him. I think the chief of staff is part of that committee. The SA political Alhaji Ibrahim Masari is also part of that committee. So it's all about making sure from the presidential viewpoint, every aggrieved members of the party is given the fair chances, fairness and justice. So aside that, of course, another internal mechanism is at the appeal committee that I told you. When those committees for the primaries were set up, there were also appeal committees that were set up along it. So in order to make sure all grievances are considered, looked into, and reconciliation made. Of course, even as of yesterday, there were also processes or means to reconcile. I think there was a committee that was set up by members of the National Working Committee, especially for some states like Anambra. It was, I think, a committee was set up to look into the grievances and also contention to make sure we resolve all these issues before we go to the general election. And of course, if you have also witnessed very well, even the national chairman himself has been going to one place to the other to make sure people, the aggrieved senior members of the party, like former governors or present governors that have been aggrieved, if he has visited them in their various homes to speak with them in order to shield their soul. And of course, he is on the process of bringing in new members, like we have seen some big wigs in the opposition party like NDC and NNPC, because they have litigation issues or court processes, which may even dim their process of being in the ballot box. So we are bringing other members, apart from settling our own aggrieved groups and interest parties. We were also bringing new people. So it's a party to beat in the next general election. And the rest assured, we are coasting home victoriously. I don't think with the present political environment or environment, yes, we have. I don't see any party beating us, because we are, for the fact that we knew that there will be issues that will be resolved. We were proactive to make sure, even from the presidential angle, even from the party, everybody is working hard to make sure we don't have any issue that will either form a function within the state's working committee or gladiators. We go with one front, and I can tell you, this general election is going to be a landslide for APC. Okay. Take it to the bank.
And just before we let you go, I want to take you up on that. What gives you that confidence that it's going to be a landslide? Because if you ask the average Nigerian on the street, they'll talk about inflation. They would also mention the incessant insecurity that has bedeviling the country. So where do you get that confidence from? If they are struggling to eat, if their purchasing power has been depleted, if they don't feel secure, why should they now vote for a party that has contributed to all of the above?
I'm sure you might have asked that same question before the Ekiti state election, because you saw the results. It was overwhelming, and I'm sure even the Osun State election too will be overwhelming.
There were widespread
victory for
reports of vote buying in Ekiti.
We understand.
Yes, the observers reported widespread incidents of vote buying in Ekiti State, so maybe that was a contributory factor to the Ekiti win. No,
if you go to Ekiti State, I was part of that APC State's campaign council, yes, from the national. And I can tell you for sure, when we went there before the election, there was, there was this enthusiasm from the citizens to re-elect the party and the governor, because the governor is following the APC blueprint of development, and they are seeing results. The governor seems to be hands-on on what he ought to do to protect the citizens in terms of securing them and also revamping the economy. You can see even the airports have been upgraded, where you can, the cargo airport, where you can, farm produce can be exported from that airport. So there are so many, the road, are you talking about the road infrastructure? So it's all about dividends of democracy. When you talk about the national, yes, there may be issues of insecurity, but you can see that the president is up and doing to make sure the issue of insecurity is nipped into the bud, and that's where there are ongoing efforts to make sure we cascade managing security to the state through the instrument of state police, which of course I'm sure with the unity of purpose we have between the executive and the National Assembly, as well as the state houses of National Assembly, we should be able to get this up and running from next dispensation, and Nigeria will be better for it. I just believe that the insecurity that we may, the pocket of one or two kidnappings that we may see is just a process of frustration. I mean, frustration being meted on by the bandits and the elements of June, and which of course the president and his team are really hands-on, and I'm sure in the next maybe 8 to 4 years, you'll see the dividends of cascading these security measures to the state government and of course to the grassroots. So you talk about the economy. Yes, when the government came, yes, there were issues of ground in terms of the economic architecture, and as you can see, the president came in and he did what he has to do which is reforming some of the the measures that can give us economic stability. Right now, we're enjoying. Go to Alaba market. Go to people who are in the industrial zone. They are enjoying they are enjoying the reforms in the economy that the president is actually delivering.
All right, Mr. Akintayo, we'd like you to make yourself available for us one more time, maybe next week. We have a special to look at the reforms of Mr. President, and I'm sure it also concerns what we saw in the budget, over 9 billion budgeted for refurbishing churches and mosques. That should also be a very good reform, and the Almajiri budget as well to fix roads. I don't know what concerns that, but that's just one aspect we'll look into. So just make yourself available. We don't want to go into it because we do not have time. Next week, hopefully, you'll present us with some of these fantastic reforms that Nigerians are actually benefiting from. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I'm here to also be with you anytime you call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Thanks for giving us your word. We'll go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at the front pages of the newspapers. Stay with us. Thanks so much for staying with us. Our guest and analyst for the front pages of the newspapers is, of course, a renowned golfer. And you could say a chartered accountant extraordinaire, and the one who is looking like he's from a tax expert, and also he's from where you have the likes of Hope Uzodimma, His Excellency, and not forgetting too a former CBN governor, Charles Chukwuma Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, plus not forgetting to the likes of His Excellency Alex Oti. But inspiration, they cry. Also, like they say in Pidgin English.
The former CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele.
Wow. Please put your hands together for Mr. Olusha Sokwadu, who's analyst.
Only you pack all the inspiration this morning.
I don't know where this link to
they cry.
I don't know where you go dig all this link to all those people.
Let's go straight to the papers. We don't have time. We're going to start off first with Daily Independent. That will be our first paper this morning. Daily Independent. Federal government rejects higher yields, cuts allotments at bond auction. I'm sure you are aware of the next bond. They said part of the bond is that they've been able to pay off the electricity debt. I also read about that. Analysts say decision shows borrowing cost discipline. CBN holds rate at 26.5% as Mid-East tensions cloud inflation outlook. Federal government gives 90-day deadline to 2025 licensing round winners. World Bank backed $500 million agro program set to take off in Nigeria. Tinubu's reforms paving way for long-term prosperity, says Minister. Let's start off first with the major one so that we can move to other papers as well. Power sector debt at the top right there, right corner. Federal government pays Genco's 333 billion naira, float 729 billion naira fresh bond. Let's talk about the bond and let's link it to what we have as the higher yields, cutting allotments at bond auction. The bond auction and the bonds, which has enabled the federal government to pay off the 333 billion naira debt owed to Gencos.
Yeah, I'm sure you know bonds are a financial instrument that is being raised by the government to actually take care of certain activities that we have. So, you see, the question that surrounds this issue of debts is what we give so much worry to an average citizen, knowing fully well that they cry, seriously what some of these electricity distribution companies are doing to them. If they pay their bills as at when due, what happened in them fulfilling their obligation that all we hear most of the time is debt to the Genco. And this has actually, retarded the growth that is expected of the Genco. I'm sure you know that what we've been generating in years back has always been between 3,005 to 5,000 megawatts. When we have an installed capacity of over 11,000, that's not even up to 50% of it. And you've asked yourself the question, what has actually been the constraint why we cannot even first the 11,000 installed capacity we are talking about cannot even meet the current requests on behalf of the electricity company. And here we are talking about struggling to get 50% of it. And it's been more of debt on the part of the distribution company to transmission, now having the issue to do with the GENCO not meeting the obligation. Fine, it's good that they've paid off this debt that we're talking about. The next area we want to see is what improvement are we going to get from the generating company in such a way that we can increase to the current installed capacity and give room for more expansion. What we've actually been looking at is how can we increase our generation capacity to as much as 30,000 megawatts as against the 11,000 that we have. Now that the bill has been paid, the next thing a lot of us are looking at is the increase in generation capacity and working in line with the transmission arm of the government to make sure that at least the citizens have electricity to actually add bomb. Looking at them rejecting...
Should we be expecting an improvement to the electricity now that this debt has been paid, some part of it?
Yeah, now that the debt has been paid, I'm sure it's not going to be an immediate thing. The money has just been paid. There is going to be planning on part of the GENCO to see where such funds can be invested. But be that it may, federal government has given their position. There's one thing for money to be paid by federal government. There's another thing for the concerned party to have access to the fund, to do what is expected of them to do, and also those that are actually in charge to actually manage those things effectively. So let's hope that there will be improvement in the generation, but that does not guarantee more supply, because a lot of us are still asking the question, what is the status of things with the transmission of what we have? We keep having system collapse with the few that we have. So you can imagine by the time we increase the capacity, do we have that the infrastructure to wheel to the distribution arm, and are the distribution company ready to absorb even from the transmission? These are the areas I feel that we actually need to look into critically. Well, the debt has been paid. I hope it will meet the obligation of the GENCO in carrying out what they are expected to do at this point in time.
Okay, let's go to our next paper this morning and see what the front pages of that one is saying. Our next paper this morning, let's take a look at Punch. Let's take a look at the Punch. On the front page of the Punch this morning, reps intensify fake agency probe, give MDAs 48-hour ultimatum. Everybody's giving ultimatum. ICPC has been giving 30 days. Now reps are giving MDAs 48 hours. House tightens news on MDAs accused of frustrating phantom agency investigation. Bianca Ojukwu summoned as Foreign Ministry honors Tuesday's appointment. Why Femi Falana withdrew as Adeyemi's legal representative. Federal government floats 729 billion naira power bond. August 3rd, Defense Minister denies quitting, threatens court action. Insecurity, Tinubu okays Army Battalion for Kwara. NSCDC busts fake Lagos varsity, rescues 107 students.
Three-bedroom.
Yeah, three-bedroom varsity. Yes, you're right. Very, very right.
Three-bedroom self-contained.
Exactly.
That's the structure they are operating.
Senate expands safe schools, probe to TET fund, NEL fund. Investors shun 13 oil blocks, NUPRC plans fresh bids. Businesses, economists back CBN's 26.5% interest rate decision. Flood disaster looms, federal government warns 17 states. Ondo speaker faces
Lagos
impeachment.
State among those states.
It go be among.
Plan.
Let's actually confirm and read out what the states are.
Amphibian mode.
No, that one is normal now. We're always amphibians. You know, the weather has been too dry in a way that scares me. Have you seen where
what to expect?
I'm traumatized that the past few days it's not rained, and I'm just thinking, hey, gosh, are you sure this rain should not come now? Let everything not come at once. Because anyway, I'll read that one later. Ondo Speaker faces impeachment as 21 lawmakers sign notice. Now let's come back here and start with the flood story. Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency has issued a 7-day advisory warning of a medium flood risk in 17 states between July 21st.
What agency is that?
Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency.
Not NIMET. We have some. I think they are not implementing the Oronsoye report.
Which
so
Oronsoye
many
report?
agencies.
Please fire now.
No, she's trying to give
so let me read the flood
whether
advisory.
to know whether Lagos is...
The flood advisory, the affected states are Adamawa, Bauchi, Benue, Borno, Edo, Gombe, Imo, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Kebbi, Nasarawa, Niger, Plateau, Taraba, Yobe, and Zamfara. Lagos is not dead. Oh, I'm so emotional. I'm so sorry for the last days.
I'll remind you of this statement. It rains. Whether you still be able to smile like this.
If it rains, Patakota will stay in my house and present from the living room.
Wow.
You will be here. You and the Queen.
So I think now having that our state is not, I think it's predominantly more of the northern states, maybe from the River Niger, River Benue, we might be having an overflow. But that does not defeat the fact that states that are not mentioned here, but are very close, closer to ocean, like Lagos State, should go to bed.
NIMET's
evaluation of that particular river.
This NIHSA, because these days you have to be scrutinizing all agencies.
Oh, okay.
So you don't end up in a Prince situation.
But whichever way that you want to look at it, I feel that even states that are not mentioned here, that are very closer to the coastal region, needs to just be very proactive. Sincerely speaking, the last few days that we've been on holiday for this rain has put pressure on me to like, I'm sure you know we normally have these 7 days continuous rain that it would non-stop. And if you look at what we had the last period, the early part of July, it creates so much worries. If you have 7 days continuous rain without non-stop, what that would depict for a state like us in Lagos. But we'll continue to
showers of blessings. Why are you averse to rain?
So the blessing that we had the last time, you know what it actually cost a lot of people?
Golf?
No, actually it's not about the golf, but I know the number of people that mechanics are actually smiling on as we speak. It's always a good time. You know, during COVID, doctors were smiling. When elections are coming, lawyers are smiling. When it's raining,
For the single ladies out there, they are looking. I've had people call me that, please, do you have a mechanic?
A mechanic friend.
Anytime one sees somebody dressed in many oil and dirty, she's always, her eyes are twinkling. Oh, this guy is a mechanic. He must be loaded.
Because they are the one that are actually blessed with the season.
And God will answer
how
you.
You've brought all into this.
Do you understand?
Is thinking of going from chartered accountant to a chartered mechanic.
So it's just to actually tell you the way we need to guard ourselves with this thing and encourage our people. This is not the period at which you disposed of refuse indiscriminately anywhere, thinking that the water will take you to a place. We should understand the fact that it's actually going to an area to settle and block the flow of those things. And we want to charge the government on their own part to see how they continuously, it's not a one-off thing, continuously be clearing these drainages and those prone areas where we feel that this can impact on the livelihood of the citizen of the state. We keep hearing a lot of people building on the waterways or, you know, on the path where it should be, water should channel through. Government should not wait, because most of the time we are reacting to certain things. We observe people building the structure without any notice. At times you say you give them notice. Now they went all out to build it, and you come and demolish even after such structure. I think we should be more proactive, put every machinery in place to make sure that that do not fly. Because I don't I don't want a situation where average citizen we have to just cry out when the rain starts again, because it's not going. I think the normal break we used to have is always in August, but this we are having break in July.
That means something is coming, something big.
Yes, it's giving me concern. August is always the break that we used to have.
I want us to look at The Guardian. There's a story there.
Yeah.
Two major stories. In fact, three. The first one, at the top, middle, federal government's 117.5 trillion debt to NNPC exposes hidden fuel subsidy, says Oye. There's this statement that federal government is still paying subsidy, even after the president has said subsidy is gone. That's one. But that's a big story. We may not talk about that. But let's look at this one. PFIPC probe, reps issue ultimatum to MDAs as Falana quits Adeyemi's defense. And then the third one, which I talked about, Senate extends probe into TED Fund, NEL Fund, UBEC, and others. Let's look at the PFIPC. There's a lot of counter statements here and there, back and forth. And many people are saying, oh, no, this issue has to do with the fact that they paid, they did not pay, they did not give him the office, they gave him the office, and so on. What's your take on that?
Yeah, you know, a lot of us have actually been asking ourselves, this issue of PFIPC is something that is deeper than what we can just hold on the surface. A lot of us have asked the question. Don't forget that we said that the fund meant for that agency is actually in our national budget. Some of us have asked the question, the budget office prepared, transferred to the National Assembly, who has an oversight function of the activity. What are the things that was carried out on that budget? Was it part of what was transmitted to Mr. President for assent? We need to ask the question. Was it out of scope that it was included after it was transmitted to Mr. President? We need to get clarity of it. We've had instances of this same agency having office, you know, at the Secretariat. Who approved it? Under what circumstances did we have this particular approval? We've heard of accounts being opened by CBN for this same agency. Under whose approval do we have those things carried out? Just like yesterday, I was on a particular program and I said, well, you can open an account based on the fact that it's a line item making provision that you'll be getting, you know, approval for disbursement of fund. But the fact remains that how did this get into our national budget? Both the National Assembly, the executive, needs to give an answer to that. How did we allocate officers? So that's why for me, when they put that caveat, fake, I keep saying that it is not to me, it is not a fake agency, but something that they initiated with the hope of actually translating it into a standby agency where they can have access to some of those things. So I don't know why the other aspect of the statement you raised of the legal representative withdrawing from the case, that I cannot see the reason to it. But the fact remains that the major problem we have, and a lot of us keep saying it, Nigeria is blessed. We need to just watch the area at which we misappropriate funds so that we can have more of these benefits to the citizen that we are living. You know, every day you wake up, you hear of one misappropriation, the other misappropriation, and people are not brought to justice.
Even the ones that are not misappropriated, the priorities, imagine budgeting billions.
For renovation of mosques and churches.
For musical instruments.
Musical instruments, yeah.
Praise the Lord. But the office of the deputy speaker has doubled down on that. They came out to say that it's not billions, or that after tax deductibles, everything is 750 million.
But so you ask yourself the facts, what is the impact of that particular thing to an average person? So not that, see, when you say you are
playing music,
you know, one thing they should realize these days is that COVID exposed a lot of things about this religious setting, and I'm sure you know a lot of people now have online services without even having a structure, and so much returns are going even without having a structure of your own where you assemble the people. Online prayers, online, so they can actually utilize that funds for other things and allow the musical instrument to be played online. Why do you enjoy those things? I think, like you said, misplacement of priority is also of great concern when it comes to the way our leaders manage. An average citizen on the road is crying. Go and look at the dilapidated structure of some of our roads. You ask yourself, Benga, the other time you said that we should not collect roadworthiness because even the road is not worthy of our cars. So those are areas. How are we working on improving on the infrastructure? Anytime it rains, internet frees up. How are we building on those infrastructure rather than you coming that you want to build churches, mosques? You know, most of the time too,
carpet.
You know, we invest on people traveling on. So it's something that is quite disturbing, and our leaders just have to have a rethink deeply so that the average citizen can benefit from the largesse God has given to us at the down.
If they go ahead with that contract of musical instruments, they should please contact me.
Okay, as the organist.
I have an uncle that used to set tambourine.
That okay.
Yes.
And for me, I have a brother that sends shekere.
And
shekere and tambourine.
Back in the
They're
days,
kind of related.
Joe used
No.
Joe used to play guitar.
Okay.
I play the drums.
You play the drums. So we're already having.
No. How much should we bet?
Okay. Anybody can play drum now.
No, not Pakwangolo. I can actually play the drums.
I play
drum sets.
xylophone.
And I can play the flute.
And harmonica.
Guys, we have few more. But you see, I always say these birds, they flock together, these two. I don't understand.
No, but I wasn't lying, though. Benga was lying. I wasn't lying.
There's a story that I want us to take why you can play.
Has the show not finished?
You can go outside.
The show has finished.
No, but the issue there is that they are actually advocating so that they can have a fair share of the 750.
But I must state here category that they both have to tender their resignation letters for me.
We don't do such on
and then they can go there officially. I bet you, if that funds, you will see it, but you will not touch it.
Just like the promised land.
It's cut off. All right, I mean, we're out of time. But
there's a story you wanted to take. I think.
Yes.
Rush through it before they off the generator.
Lagos 6 assemblies nod on infrastructure financing, 200 billion naira development bond.
I will give kudos to Lagos State. At least we are saying some developmental project going on. We'll continue to say that when you get some of these funds, it shouldn't be in a few people's hands. They should be used for what is meant for, to create that infrastructure that will enhance. Don't forget that Lagos is actually working towards a mega city, you know, Africa-based, and they have all the resources that can make that happen for them. So if they have the north, my concern is it's not getting the approval. Is implementing the funds for what is actually meant for, so that the common man on the street can benefit from, you know, the funds that you are getting for that development. All we need in this country is the sincerity of our leaders to implement some of the things that they have on paper. If 50% of those things are actually implemented, I can tell you that there is no place to be than this country, because you enjoy what is actually meant for you. The natural resources is there, the human capital is there. All we need is to have the political will and the infrastructure to actually ride on to make things happen and make our country great.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Olusegun Okwara, for always joining us to analyze the front pages of the newspapers with the biggest stories. I think a word is enough for the wise with the stories we've seen so far. And you've also highlighted some things you want the government to do.
What is a word and who is
one of the
wise?
things he said I'm going to take home is these monies. There are many other things we can do. Roads, school, I don't know. But since all
for school, you can imagine 3-bedroom apartment.
3-bedroom apartment. Even a room and just a room with a little, you know, like self-contained, like they call it, just room parlor. But
and you have not seen 3-bedroom hospital. You are complaining of 3-bedroom.
No, but if it's hospital, at least you can. But we're talking of a university, school.
Thank you so much.
Is it for admin?
School has closed.
Now the day is
Mr.
over.
Good luck to the Super Eagles of Nigeria in winning the 2030 World Cup. If we qualify.
Why not start from qualification before you talked about
Bye. See you tomorrow.